But a great chance to right their season here at home against the Rebels. Auburn won the toss and elected to receive. Rudy Ford is back, and Nathan Noble will kick it deep to Ford. Goes by Rudy, even though his first name is Jonathan. He's averaging 30 yards per kick return. We're going to update you on the Auburn quarterback situation here in a moment. There was a lot of discussion whether redshirt freshman Sean White would start his 5th consecutive game or whether it would be Jeremy Johnson, who was benched earlier this season. This will be a touchback, so Auburn will start on the 25. And it will be Sean White to start despite being banged up. He's got a brace on his left leg. He was hit a lot against Arkansas in a quadruple overtime game that Auburn lost on the road last week.
Yeah, he mentioned a very physical game. He got hit quite a bit. And you see that brace on his left leg. That's the leg that's closest to the defense. As a quarterback, you kind of worry about that. But Sean White's a tough character. And I think this decision is mostly about protecting the football, which Sean White has done an outstanding job of the last 3 games with no turnover.
And White to throw here on first down. And the pass is high and incomplete, intended for Ricardo Lewis. White has only turned the ball over once, and that's the biggest reason why Auburn made the change at quarterback from Jeremy Johnson, who had thrown 6 picks and lost a fumble. White threw an interception on the first drive of his first start, but he has not turned it over since. However, he also hasn't thrown a touchdown pass the entire season.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Jeremy Johnson. Both quarterbacks play. We'll also see Kerryon Johnson in shotgun formation as well.
White has an open receiver. Near the first down is Tony Stevens. It's a pickup of 11 for Stevens, his 4th catch of the season.
Now, early in this game, it's important Auburn gets some kind of rhythm offensively. They haven't played at home in a month.
There's Peyton Barber, their workhorse tailback, who carried it 37 times last week.
And with the way the season has gone, Dave, for Auburn, here at home in front of their fans who were expecting something very different than what they've gotten so far this year from Auburn, they need to get some rhythm early on. And right away, you see Gus Malzahn getting Jeremy Johnson into the ballgame.
Now, he played last week, 1 play. You wonder where his confidence is right now after getting pulled. There was some thought he would be a Heisman candidate this year. And he'll keep it on 2nd down and long. And he's wrapped up short of the 40 after a 1-yard pickup by Robert Kindici. Johnson started 1 game last year, and many thought he was the best backup in the country. He was playing behind Nick Marshall. He was anointed the starter coming into training camp, but really struggled early on, and they made the change in the Mississippi State game to go to Sean White, who's back out there for 3rd and 5. And White has time now. The pocket breaks down, and a sack for Marquise Haynes, the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week. He had 2 sacks in their win against A&M, and he gets 1 here on the first drive.
And he just comes underneath, and that's just a TE game. Tackle comes up the field, and the end wraps underneath. And Marquise Haynes, their best pass rusher, 5.5 sacks coming in. Auburn has to account for him, especially in 3rd down situations.
Kevin Phillips will punt it to Collins Moore. And Auburn has been excellent in punt and kick return coverage. They've only allowed 4 punt returns the entire season. And this will be a fair catch. And dangerous there as he misread that. Moore after a 50-yard punt. Chad Kelly leads the SEC in passing. He is the nephew of Jim Kelly, Pro Football Hall of Famer, part of those Bills teams that won 4 championships in the AFC. Remember, he attended Clemson, was dismissed from there. They went to junior college where he won a championship. Ole Miss gave him an opportunity to come be the starting quarterback. Big win at Alabama. The coaches say that he's really matured over the course of the season, but he will turn it over. 10 picks, 5 coming in the last 2 games.
And a great opportunity for him here in this environment. It's been kind of an up and down season. See so many plays he makes. 18 touchdowns in reference, but 10 interceptions. And Hugh Freeze wants him to be more consistent, take care of the football. Turned over 3 times a week ago. Come on the road in this situation. You know, you're going to go up against Carl Lawson, who is back for the first time for the Auburn Tigers since that first half of the first game, injured his hip.
They're going to run the ball here to Jalen Walton. They rushed for 230 yards last week, and that's because Laramie Tunsil, their outstanding left tackle, is back after missing the first 7 games. You see the numbers for Kelly on the season. School record 5 300-yard games, and he's got a great chance to break Eli Manning's single season school record for passing yards. He averages 300 per game the rest of the way. 2nd and 3, and got a man wide open. It's Laquan Treadwell. Treadwell, who suffered a broken leg in the loss against Auburn when both teams were ranked in the top 5 last year. It was a horrific injury. Fumbled on the 1-yard line. When he suffered that injury, they lost the game. He's back. He's had an All-America type season. And he gets a first down out near the 43-yard line. Back to the ground, and Walton. And he is drilled by Trey Williams after a pickup of 1.
You know, you mentioned Laquan Treadwell. Watching him the last 3 weeks, you know, he makes plays in the passing game. There's no question. He's one of the best. He and Juju Smith-Schuster, to me, are 2 of the best in the country at the wide receiver position. But it's the things that you don't see that he's doing so well this year. Blocking in the run game on the perimeter. He's such a physical specimen out there. And then also his leadership from the sideline really jumped out to me.
Here's Walton again, and he's hit in the backfield. Spun forward to get back to the line of scrimmage. Casanova McKenzie, who had the game-winning fumble recovery last year in the Ole Miss game when Treadwell turned it over. He makes the hit there, and it's 3rd and 9.
That's a good sign for Auburn defensively. You know, Carl Lawson, him being out, Casanova McKenzie had to move from Mike linebacker to end, making plays.
Kelly to the air. Here comes Lawson. Kelly gets out of there, and he'll take off. He's an excellent athlete. And slides for the first down to the 45-yard line. Well, Carl Lawson is a difference maker, but Chad Kelly did a great job getting out of there.
And Carl Lawson, no matter how good of an athlete you are, a special player, which he is, you know, there's going to be some rust. You get back out there after missing 7 games, and you have a shot on the quarterback and miss. That's just kind of how it goes when you get back out there.
Play fake for Kelly. Has all day, going to air it out, and it's incomplete and nearly intercepted by Jonathan Jones. Auburn native Cody Core, the intended receiver.
No, Chad Kelly does what he does best there, and that's pull a rabbit out of the hat, make things make plays when things break down. But Will Muschamp defensively, Brian, it's all about getting off the field on 3rd down. That's been the theme of this defense for Auburn this year.
There's no question, Lugs. They're 118th in the country on 3rd downs, and Will Muschamp knows that's the money down. You have got to get off the field.
Walton finds a hole, and Walton has the first down inside the 35-yard line. So a gain of about 14 on the play for Jalen Walton, as Ole Miss is now inside the Auburn 35-yard line.
Yeah, Dave, I think the biggest key for Ole Miss offensively in this game is to establish that running game. You see them take a shot down the field, then they come right back. Hugh Freeze calls an internal run, which was very successful a week ago against A&M. They had 230 yards rushing.
Walton already with 4 carries. Here's play action. Kelly on the rollout, and it's caught at the 20-yard line. Markel Pack, who had 5 catches in their win over Texas A&M, which was arguably their best played game of the season. Even though they beat Alabama, they had 5 takeaways in that game. Excellent pass by Kelly to Pack for the first down. They dominated A&M last week, ran the ball the best they have in 4 years. And they held A&M to under 200 yards of offense. Walton broke an ankle tackle attempt by Trey Williams. He gets to the 15-yard line for about 3. Dontavius Russell eventually on the tackle. We talked about the 230 last week. Well, when you have maybe the best player on your team back, Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle, makes a huge difference in your run game.
It's a huge difference, and Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, was telling us, you know, he's one of the best in the country at getting to the 2nd level and getting on linebackers. Be a key in this game.
And here's Judd breaking free. And Judd close to the first down. Akeem Judd, they want to get him more work. He is technically the number 3 tailback. That's a guy that averages about 30 yards per game, but he can catch it out of the backfield too, and they will throw it to him.
Oh, and he's got a little bit more size, which down here in the red zone inside the 10-yard line, you need a little bit more size. They've tried to get Judd involved. They'll use Jeremy Liggins, the 300-pound tight end. And
he's in there now, Brian. Liggins, and they pitch it here to Judd, and Judd is dropped short of the first down. Blake Countess, a Michigan transfer, a corner they turned into a safety, made the play. It's 4th down, and Ole Miss will settle for a field goal try.
Well, we talked about, and Tom referenced, the importance of 3rd down. They gave up the sack missed by Carl Lawson, 1st down scramble by Chad Kelly, but they don't give up. They bend, and they get a stop on 3rd down inside the 10-yard line.
Gary Wunderlich, 12 of 15 on the season. Tough angle here, 27-yard try, and he hooks it through. Ole Miss on the board first, but that has got to be encouraging for Will Muschamp and the Auburn D. Getting off the field there on 3rd down, stopping the run. ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. Dave Pass, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville at Auburn. The Tigers have won 5 straight here against Ole Miss going back to 2003. Rebels get a field goal on their opening drive, but Auburn, even though gave up some plays on that first possession defensively, able to hold their ground in the red zone. Kerryon Johnson is deep this time for Auburn, along with Blake Countess. But it will be another touchback. Auburn will start on the 25. Well, talking with the Auburn coaches, Brian, they told us they are lacking leadership this season. That's why they were so excited to get Carl Lawson back. And you could see the energy for Auburn defensively, which we had not seen going back to the Louisville game.
Yeah, Carl Lawson's their alpha dog on defense. He brings the energy, the passion. You saw he missed that sack, but still just having him on the field, I think, gives the confidence back to this defense, which has been inconsistent, and Will Muschamp is really trying to find that energy. And Carl Lawson, not only on the field, but on the sideline, watching him today, you'll see his energy that he brings.
Kerryon Johnson is in at quarterback running the Wildcat, and there's a penalty marker down. Johnson is a dynamic runner, true freshman from Madison, Alabama. He hurdled a defender on a long run last week that Olympian Lolo Jones tweeted at him after the game. She was impressed.
Offside. Defense. Number 9. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
So offside there on Ole Miss. 1st and 5 here. Johnson, they'll throw it to him. He's got 9 catches. He's got a rushing touchdown in the season.
And he needs about 10 or 12 snaps from this Wildcat position in this game, Dave, to keep the balance, keep the pressure off the quarterback.
He'll keep it here on 1st and 5. Makes a nice move. And brought down at the 35. Got the 1st down as we check in with Tom Luganville down to the field.
Well, expect to see more of what we're seeing right now from Kerryon Johnson, because Sean White does not look even close to being at full strength. They chose to move the pocket with him as he's rolling out, and he does not have the mobility. At the quarterback position throwing the ball, it's going to have to come from within the pocket. That's why Kerryon Johnson is going to become the X factor in this offense.
Yeah, so you got options with White, Jeremy Johnson, Kerryon Johnson. You might see Jason Smith, too, getting some work at Wildcat as Kerryon Johnson keeps, but he won't go anywhere. Marquise Haynes, who had a sack on the first series, gets a tackle for a loss here on Johnson.
Well, as soon as Kerryon Johnson comes in the game, Ole Miss, if you run this, guys, Ole Miss just going to get 8 or 9 guys in the box. And that time, Marquise Haynes, great read. Now, Auburn's just going to try to use Kerryon Johnson, much like they used Nick Marshall a year ago, with an athlete that he is, to get him out on the edge, but expect Ole Miss to really stack the box because Kerryon can't throw the football.
He lost 3 yards, and now Jeremy Johnson is in at quarterback. He'll run the option. Johnson, at 240 pounds, barrels to the 39-yard line, picking up 6. DeMarcus Gates on the stop. That'll make it 3rd and manageable as Sean White returns for an obvious passing situation. 3rd and 7.
This guy's starting to look a little bit like a Steve Spurrier offense here. He's shuttling the quarterbacks in and out. And again, I don't think that this is the way that Gus Malzahn traditionally wants to play, obviously. I think this is because of Sean White's limited mobility. Obviously, he's got Jeremy Johnson, who has some experience under his belt, and he's trying to take a little bit of pressure off of 13.
Let's see if Ole Miss brings pressure here on 3rd and long to try to get another hit in on White. They'll rush 4. And White standing tall, looking, forced out of the pocket. And now White airing it out into double coverage, and it is intercepted. It's picked off by Tony Bridges. There's a penalty marker in the backfield at the 32 of Auburn. And
there's a flag on the play. Holding. Offense, number 63. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is interception. 1st down, Ole Miss.
Brian, a guy that's been so smart with the football, why throw that up into double coverage there?
I actually don't think that's a bad decision. That's just like a punt, Dave. You know, it's 3rd down, throw the ball 35, 40 yards down the field, interception, and they get the ball on the 20-yard line.
The first turnover by Auburn in the last 4 games as Tony Bridges gets his 2nd interception of the year.
Who does this?
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Cadillac.
Back here at Auburn, where, yeah, that's actually on the big screen here. I apologize for that.
Gotcha.
Stringfellow on the end around, able to get about a yard, pushed forward there before Carlton Davis made the stop. It's really a good look for you, Greasy.
Well, you know,
fitting.
This is all because of Luke's. I mean, Luke's his favorite holiday is Halloween. He likes it more than Christmas, for crying out loud. So, you know, that's all for Luke. You're welcome, Luke.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Not sure that would be the costume I would have gone with.
2nd and 9 after the 1-yard pickup by Stringfellow. And now Kelly to the air, and it's pulled in for a 1st down, and then the ball comes out. It's ruled incomplete. Quincy Adeboyo could not hang on to it. 3rd and long.
Great play by Blake Countess, the 2nd play of this game early on that he's made. He made the big 3rd down stop, and then he just gets a hand in there, doesn't give up on the play, and rips it out at the end.
That was a terrific play.
And he's playing for Rudy Ford, and he's kind of starting at that safety position. And Blake Countess, in his 1st year at Auburn, making plays.
Out of an empty set, here comes a blitz up the middle, and Kelly is wrapped up, and down he goes. Oh, McKenzie shot through an open gap and ripped the quarterback down for a 10-yard loss.
Well, and give an assist to Carl Lawson. Watch both offensive linemen come outside, and that allows Casanova McKenzie to come right up the middle. The impact that Carl Lawson already having on this football game, you have to account for him, and Cass McKenzie straight up the gut, untouched.
That's what we were talking about with Lawson. Can impact the game in so many ways, as that's a poor punt, but it hit an Auburn player and then scooped up by Davis on a heads-up play. And Auburn will have the ball inside the Ole Miss 40-yard line.
Looks like it hit the back of Jeremiah Dinson. And how many balls have gone the wrong way for Auburn early in this season? This one could have been disastrous.
But a smart play by Davis to grab it.
Clemson.
Saturday Night Football presented by Walmart on ABC, Notre Dame, and Temple. The Owls 7-0 for the first time ever. And Temple has not defeated a top 10 team in 70 years. Will it happen tonight in Philly? Well, Auburn mixing it up. Normally we see Peyton Barber getting the bulk of the carries. But in 9 snaps, seen 3 different players and a quarterback. And Sean White is in there now. And he's lined up next to Jason Smith, who's a former quarterback himself.
Area of the field where Gus Malzahn likes to take some shots, some trick plays. Jason Smith can throw it.
And here is Smith, and he's going to throw it. Smith looking downfield, and there was some bumping going on down the sideline, but the pass was uncatchable. It was thrown out of bounds.
Yeah, I think if that ball's a little bit more accurate, he might have got a flag there.
Melvin Ray, the intended receiver. Tony Bridges in coverage, so it's 2nd down.
That's a good call. You know, Gus Malzahn knows he doesn't have a whole lot of explosive players on this offense, so especially in a sudden change situation there in a red zone fringe, to take a shot like that, it's worth it.
Now White to throw on 2nd down. His pass deflected, incomplete. 3rd and 10.
No, diversity has been a staple of this offense. The problem is this type of diversity when Sean White's at quarterback, or 21 Kerryon Johnson's at quarterback, or you have Jeremy Johnson at quarterback, is such a tell to the Ole Miss defense that you know what you're going to get defensively.
Yeah, you're right, Ludes. But I think it's what they have to do. It's got to be a committee approach because of the health of Sean White in this game and the fact that they just don't have that dynamic playmaker quarterback.
White finds Thomas, and a beautiful tackle by Mike Hilton, the Thorpe Award semifinalist, taken down at the 35-yard line. So it'll be 4th down and 6, and Ole Miss getting off the field here. A long field goal try coming up for Auburn.
Yeah, and I think that was a calculated play from Gus Malzahn just to get in position to allow Daniel Carlson to attempt this 52, 53-yard field goal. He's already made 3 51-plus already this season.
Saw him making 60-yarders easily in warm-ups. And this one is good.
What a weapon.
4 field goals of 51-plus. And he ties it at 3. Taking advantage of a poor punt by Ole Miss as the Tigers get on the board.
Looks like some.
The little brown jug is at stake tonight. Michigan, Minnesota at 7 o'clock. And then a guy that we saw last week jumping into the Heisman conversation, Christian McCaffrey, could break Barry Sanders' FBS record for all-purpose yards. They're at Washington State.
Well, thoughts with Jerry Kill and his family. It's just a heartbreaking end to his coaching career, but I expect them to play spirited in honor of Coach Kill.
Tracy Clay is taking over as the interim head coach like he did when Kill had health issues previously. Daniel Carlson, fresh off the 52-yard field goal. He's one of the nation's leaders in touchbacks. And you saw why in that last kick with that 52-yarder that would have been good from 60. And Ole Miss just watches it go through the end zone. As we go to the studio and say good afternoon to Adnan Burke.
Good afternoon, Dave. A Taco Bell studio update. If you think Greasy's goofy, waiting to see what Cannell and Galloway are dressed as. Syracuse and Florida State on ABC. Sean McGuire's 2nd career start. No Everett Golson, no Dalvin Cook. But check out Travis Rudolph. 75-yard touchdown. The crazy stiff arm. He hasn't had 75 yards receiving in a game this season. It's 7-all on ABC. Dave?
Syracuse trying to beat Florida State for the first time since 1966, the year that I believe Bob Greasy was drafted.
Yeah, 67. So much for your Syracuse prediction of beating Florida State today.
I didn't say that. I had a little glimmer of hope there when I saw that Cook wasn't playing and Golson wasn't playing. Here's Kelly, and he throws it out on the flat to Pat across the 30-yard line, and he gets about 6.
Brian, you see the impact right there, even though it's on the backside of Laramie Tunsil in the offensive front, just manhandles the end man on the line of scrimmage, kind of setting the tone for how the line of scrimmage is going to play.
Oh, yeah, Tom, you know, probably the biggest thing is they were able to move Fawn Cooper, who was playing left tackle, back to his natural position at right, where he's a much better player.
Walton trying to pick a hole, does, and has a first down to the 36-yard line.
I don't think it's any coincidence that, you know, you have 51 rush attempts, the production on the ground when Laramie Tunsil comes back into the game plan. I don't know if people truly understand how impactful the left tackle can be to an entire offensive unit.
He might be the best player in college football. Seriously. Humble. And Kelly dives on it. He was already on the ground, didn't need to be touched. It's a 7-yard loss on the play.
That ball was perfectly snapped right between the 1 and the 0. Just kind of take your eye off of it. Doesn't take much. That looked like it may have been a reverse. You saw Treadwell coming in motion.
So 2nd down and 16 just to finish up on Tunsil. He missed 7 games due to an NCAA investigation and the extra benefits. Started last week, shut down Myles Garrett. And he's matched up on Carl Lawson. Keep an eye on this here at the top of your screen. 2 future NFL stars likely. And that pass batted down by Dontavius Russell. Got a paw up, knocked it to the ground. It's 3rd and long.
Now, we were talking with Hugh Freeze about Will Muschamp and this defense. See, there's no linebacker there, and they just come after him. 5 defensive linemen playing man-to-man coverage behind it. You know, Hugh Freeze said that Muschamp will have his flavor of the week, and that's probably going to be the flavor of the week for Will Muschamp. Get 5 defensive linemen on the field, use Carl Lawson in creative sets, and get after Chad Kelly.
Ole Miss 1 of 3 on 3rd down. 3rd and 16. He'll keep it on the ground with Walton. He's crossed the 30-yard line and then upended. And a flag down, though. Carlton Davis made the hit.
Usually this is in the area of holding when you get tight ends and receivers out on the perimeter trying to hold on to those blocks.
Yeah, that's the call. He had Treadwell out there blocking. You talked about how good of a blocker he is. He was in the area there. This will be declined because it'll be 4th and 10.
Fouls against both teams. Holding on the offense, number 55. Offside on the defense, number 17. Those penalties will offset. Replay, 3rd down.
Didn't see the first flag.
I think they had those 2 numbers flip-flopped. 55 in blue was Lawson offsides and 17 Ingram.
But I didn't see the flag. I think that's what Gus Malzahn is saying. There was no flag. The flag for holding was thrown, but nobody saw a flag for offside thrown at the snap. So we'll do it again. 3rd and 16.
Very conservative play call from Hugh Freeze on that first 3rd down. I don't expect him to do anything different here. Try to drop back and push the ball down the field when you have Carl Lawson coming off the edge.
And Laquan Treadwell, the leading receiver in the SEC, up top. One-on-one coverage up there.
They're not going to get it off.
Penalty flag down.
Before the snap, delay a game. Offense, number 10. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So it's 3rd down and 21 after the 5-yard setback.
You know, we talked about this. As good as Chad Kelly has been and as consistent, you want consistency out of the quarterback. And in these situations, backed up on the road, now the crowd's into it. You get a delay a game, and the communication between the quarterback and the center is trying to get that snap. I don't know if the center can hear him snapping his hands.
And they've had rotating guys at that center position. Justin Bell is in there now. Ben Still has played some. Robert Conyers out for the year with an ACL. He was the starter earlier this year. Going to be a short pass. Walton is drilled at the 26-yard line by Jonathan Jones, but did he go down? The ruling in the field was he was down at the 26, and then Walton got hit again as he got to the 36-yard line, and he's shaken up. He still is short of the first down either way. The question is he down to the 26? That was the ruling, and let's see. The hand down, the elbow down, so he's down there. And Walton did get off the field. Training staff will take a look at him. 4th down. Marcus Davis is deep. The last punt was not good by Gleason, but it did hit an Auburn player. He's punting with his left foot. And back to get the fair catch at the 26-yard line is Davis after a 49-yard punt. We go to Adnan in the studio.
All right, Dave, over on the SEC network in South Carolina taking on Texas A&M. This is Lorenzo Nunez here, a little end around 7 yards. He will punch it in. It's 7-all right now. Once again on the SEC network after 1. Dave?
A&M is a great example of how crazy of a year it's been in college football, right? I mean, for a while there, looking like A&M was a top 5 team. They couldn't do anything offensively last week against this Ole Miss team. Had just 3 points. They've lost 2 in a row now heading into today.
And it's really troubling because we watched it happen a year ago, right, with Kenny Hill, and now to see really the same kind of a season unfolding for A&M is troubling.
Sean White is in at quarterback. So is Kerryon Johnson. He gets the call, trying to get to the perimeter and tracked down at the line of scrimmage. So no gain on the play. Kendarius Webster and Trey Elston over there for the stop.
Right there, Gus Malzahn really upset with his wide receiving core and blocking on the perimeter. And it is so loud, guys, down here, just to give you a sense of what Ole Miss is dealing with on offense. Those two things to me, the perimeter blocking for Auburn on this play right there, and then this crowd noise totally affecting Ole Miss.
And Gus Malzahn upset, Lugs, about something there. You never see him get that hot. Here's a little bubble screen. Rock Thomas is free. And up near midfield before he's brought down. 23 yards on 2nd and 11.
Great design there. You release the both front side guard and tackle and get downfield and get blocks for Rock Thomas. Gets their first explosive play of the day on offense.
They're trying to get one more play in before the end of the quarter, and they will. Thomas, he gets leveled at the 49-yard line by Tony Bridges, a corner coming up and making a big hit on Thomas. That's the end of the first quarter. Auburn will start the second period in Ole Miss territory as we're tied at 3 after 1 in the SEC West. You're watching the SEC on ESPN, an SEC West showdown here with Auburn and Ole Miss. Take a look at an Auburn winning tradition driven by Goodyear. War Eagle. Really one of things you really look forward to when you come here, and you never know where that thing's going to go. You hope it doesn't go into the crowd.
You know, he's a performer. He didn't just go straight for, you know, the mice down there. As you see, he gets that mice, but he kind of flew around, gave a little flyover to a bunch of fans.
I guess when you got dead mice waiting for you, you know where you're headed, right?
Yum.
Auburn in Ole Miss territory, and Kerryon Johnson in running the Wildcat. He'll keep it. He is pushed back at the 46-yard line for 3 yards, bringing up a 3rd down and 4.
You notice that was Jeremy Johnson, the quarterback, number 6 there in motion, Grease. So coming out in a variety of offensive sets just to try and keep this defense for Ole Miss on their toes.
Yeah, we were talking with Rhett Lashley, their offensive coordinator, last night. They have to find ways to create explosive plays. You know, they've been around that 8. They had 8 versus Arkansas, 9 versus Kentucky, but he wants to be consistently over 10, between 10 and 15. He said that's what Nick Marshall really brought to this offense, was he made these plays explosive. They've got to be more creative.
3rd down and 4. They fake the end around. White looking deep. Got a man. It's caught. Touchdown. Ricardo Lewis. Making up for a drop he had last week in overtime that may have cost them the game. You talked about explosive plays. They get 147 yards on 3rd and 4.
And give Auburn credit for doing it creatively. They don't have those really explosive players like a Nick Marshall, but they still have the creativity in the backfield. A little bit of misdirection, and Ole Miss falls asleep and allows Ricardo Lewis to insert right down the middle of the field.
And folks, that is Sean White's first touchdown pass of the season. It's his 5th start. He had not had a TD pass prior to that throw. Beautiful design. Lewis wide open. And Auburn is on top. 10-3 here at home. Start your NFL Sunday right with ESPN beginning at 10 Eastern with NFL Insider Sunday Edition, followed by Sunday NFL Countdown at 11. Boomer and the boys providing in-depth analysis of every game right up to kickoff. So Sean White with his first touchdown pass of the season in his 104th attempt. And talking with Gus Malzahn yesterday, the head coach, he said last week in our game against Arkansas, even though we lost, I finally felt like we were seeing an Auburn offense again.
Yep.
And they look sharp here in the first half of this game, leading 10-3.
Well, and Sean White didn't have a touchdown pass, not because of it was an effort, because he put the ball in the hands of Ricardo Lewis. He just dropped it last week.
Another touchback.
We talked about that creativity and how they can create explosive plays. Take a look. This is the huddle right before that touchdown throw. Now, why does Auburn do that? Well, they do that to hide something typically. So what are they going to hide? They're going to hide the formation. You see substitutions from Ole Miss. Now, freeze it right there, guys. Look, there's 4 guys in the backfield. First off, you got to make sure you're lined up correctly, which Auburn does a great job of. And then take a look back here. C.J. Hampton gets caught looking in the backfield, and Ricardo Lewis goes right down the middle of the field. Remember, Ole Miss is playing without Tony Connor. He had a meniscus in his knee, and he's trying to get back. They thought he might be ready to play in this game, but he's not. And so that's why C.J. Hampton is on the field and gives up a big play.
Let's see how the Rebels respond. Kelly will throw on first down and fires back shoulder complete to Stringfellow. And they're going to say the ball hit the ground. It's incomplete.
They love these back shoulder throws. Chad Kelly with Stringfellow and with Laquan Treadwell. Picks that off. You got to control that ball all the way to the ground, right? The process, and it looks like the ball did touch the white. That official was right on top of it.
Stringfellow, 20 catches on the season. He started for just about everybody else in the country.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. The previous play is under further review.
I'm going to look at this further. And again, the ball can hit the ground if you have control of it, but if you're juggling it and you go out of bounds and the ball hits while you're out of bounds, then it's incomplete. Let's see where that ball hit. It actually didn't hit the ground. He turned his body, but here you see it juggled there, and now he's out of bounds. So they got it right.
That's a difficult look there. Certainly difficult to overturn it. Take a look at from this angle. Great effort, though, by Stringfellow. Can't see much there. Again, the ruling on the field incomplete. Hard to overturn it from that.
Just didn't have possession as he slid out of bounds. Chad Kelly going right back to work. Hugh Freeze has a lot of confidence in Kelly. And talking with Freeze about him, and we talked at the top of the telecast about Kelly, and this is something that was on game day earlier this year. Kelly was dismissed from Clemson. He had an off the field issue before he came to Ole Miss. Was arrested last December.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Second out.
But Freeze feels like Kelly has turned a corner, that he's really matured. He's worked very hard. You hear cliches of first guy in, last guy to leave, but he says that's true with this kid. He wants to be great. Obviously, there's the pressure of the Uncle Jim Kelly there as well.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that I took from talking to Hugh Freeze is he said that Chad Kelly wants to be coached in all aspects of his life, not just on the field, but off the field as well. And that's why Hugh Freeze will meet with him every single week to talk about a myriad of different issues.
Kelly on second down in trouble. Kelly gets out of there and throws it incomplete as we go to Adnan in the studio.
All right, Dave, thank you. Over on ABC, it's Syracuse and Florida State. Sean McGuire, once again, he's in for Everett Golson. No Dalvin Cook, but look at Rudolph. First game of his career with 2 touchdowns, the first 100-yard receiving game of his career. They're up 14-7. Dave?
Florida State looks like it's going to bounce back after that loss against Georgia Tech on the block field goal.
Another 3rd and long, Dave, and this Auburn defensive line has been getting consistent pressure.
And how about that? Tunsil comes out of his stance with Carl Lawson lined up over him. That's a matchup to watch all day. Advantage Lawson.
These 2 guys knew that everybody is going to be watching them, right? Everybody in the stadium, especially on 3rd down, they said, well, we'll just we'll play our own game right here.
Boy, it is loud down here, fellas. Louder than when we had that night contest in Starkville, Mississippi State. Chad Kelly's having to do an awful lot at the line of scrimmage with very little ability to communicate.
And now he's got 3rd and 15 after that penalty by Tunsil. Kelly steps up and throws to Pack. And they haven't ruled yet. It's a catch. It's a catch and a first down at the 37-yard line.
was one of the uglier balls I've ever seen thrown. But Pack, nice job. I mean, that's not easy for a receiver to catch a ball that's not spiraling. That's kind of a knuckleball. Great job by Pack in concentration. Gets a big first down.
They might need to look at that one further. They won't. They snapped it. And on the carry, it's Wilkins. And he picks up about 3 yards. And Treadwell getting into it with a defender. Carlton Davis. There is some shoving after the play.
Well, Treadwell pancaked him. Treadwell knows that to Carlton Davis, a true freshman, he's got good size at 6'1", but as a true freshman, Treadwell's going to eat him for breakfast, especially in blocking.
2nd and 7, play action. Kelly on the rollout. And he goes to the second level for a completion. Stringfellow into Auburn territory. He had Ingram, the tight end, underneath, but he went to the deeper man, and it was the right decision for a first down.
Well, I think he heard me say that the last throw was pretty ugly because this one was a laser. I mean, on the move, that ball is thrown perfectly. And you see how explosive this offense for Ole Miss can be. You think they're backed up, 3rd and long, can't get rid of the football, and all of a sudden they get 2 first downs.
Auburn showing blitz out in the flat. Attaboy is dropped for a loss by Carlton Davis. Great play by the true freshman from Miami. And Auburn's without its best corner, Josh Holsey, due to injury. Davis made the play in the open field.
You start talking about these guys often, you know. I say it was a bad throw, and you come back and have a great throw. And I say Carlton Davis gets pancaked, and he comes back and makes a great play.
He was unblocked there, and they were trying to set up that wide receiver screen. Play action. Kelly rolling out. Stringfellow able to get the foot down at the 39-yard line for a 9-yard pickup, bringing up 3rd down and 3.
You know, they've kind of gone away from running the football here. Hugh Freeze, and if I'm Will Muschamp, you know, you have to make that adjustment as well. You might think about playing a little bit more roll coverage on the outside and not allowing these easy, soft throws to the perimeter.
Deflected at the line of scrimmage, incomplete by McKenzie. Seeing a lot of balls batted on both sides here today. Auburn forces a 4th down and 3. We'll see what Ole Miss does.
And it's the flavor of the week again. This is the bare front, and Laramie Tunsil has to block down at the left tackle position, but Chad Kelly has to know that there's an unblocked McKenzie off the edge, and that's a difficult throw to throw a slant right into an unblocked play.
Right decision here to punt on 4th and 3.
You know, with these explosive players, I might give them a chance.
Excellent punt, though. And the fair catch made at the 9-yard line by Marcus Davis. So Auburn will be backed up, leading 10-3 over Ole Miss.
Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans keep you comfortable when you're out.
Heading into this morning game here locally in Auburn, Alabama. And those early starts have been a problem this year for Ole Miss. They lost at Memphis earlier this year. That was their 2nd loss. But even with that, 3-1 in the conference, they control their own destiny to make it to the SEC title game. Peyton Barber, who hasn't touched it a lot in this game, gets 3 yards. 2nd and 7 coming.
If you're going to be a championship football team, you've got to win on the road. That's the next evolution for Hugh Freeze, and so much so, Brian, that he changed up their schedule because he doesn't talk about wins and losses. He talks about winning and learning.
Yeah, he actually came, rather than coming on Friday, came Thursday night so that his team could get rest in the hotel and just change up that schedule. Don't know that it's worked.
Off play action, another deep pass. Diving attempt, but it's incomplete. Lewis couldn't come up with that, but that was a tough catch. That ball seemed to be underthrown. It's 3rd down.
Well, and it's going to be tough for Sean White to throw consistently deep balls from the pocket, just because this Ole Miss front is so athletic with Kondichi, Marquise Haynes coming off the edge. So if they want to throw the ball down the field, they've got to move the pocket. But the problem is he's kind of immobile, so they're really in a catch-22.
Kondichi missed last week's game due to a concussion. He's back. He is a force. We saw him push back the guard into White earlier. They run it here, and Barber will not get the first down, so this will be a punt coming up for Auburn.
you know, a punt and great field position is okay right now, and it's okay, Brian, because quite frankly, Auburn's playing the type of defense that you got to do to win football games because they're getting off the field on third downs.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a recipe to win this game 60 minutes. You know, I mean, this is an explosive offense for Ole Miss. Right there, you want to burn some clock. You want to run the football if you're Auburn and protect your defense a little bit.
Guys, I'm surprised they haven't handed it to Barber very often. 37 carries last week. I know he's not 100%. They want to take something off of his plate as there's a flag down. But, I mean, they really haven't even tried to establish Barber.
Start. Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And Lugs, maybe they feel like they can't run the ball with Kim Dichie in the middle of that defensive line.
Well, if you keep in mind, talking to Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator, they had gone from more of a zone scheme to what we would call a gap scheme, where you're going to be pulling guards. And when you do that, you expose gaps. And when you've got a penetrator like a Robert Kim Dichie, like a Breland Speaks, you got to be very careful because you could subject yourself to a lot of negative plays.
Yeah, it's a good point because they're really concerned about Austin Golson in the middle of that offensive line blocking Kim Dichie upfield.
Phillips punting from his goal line. An excellent kick. What a beauty. And all that Collins Moore can do is signal for a fair catch. Ole Miss will have it inside its 40. Down 10-3 in the second quarter.
Who does this?
10-3 at Auburn, and this Auburn defense on third down has been outstanding, and a lot of it has been because they've used Carl Lawson creatively in the bare front, which has opened up some lanes for Kaz McKenzie. So you get Kaz McKenzie on the inside, you get him on the outside here. He gets a tip ball, a little bit of a wrinkle from Will Muschamp. But the reason why they're able to rush the passer with these two guys, the average third down distance for Ole Miss has been 3rd and 10.
They're doing a great job on 1st and 2nd down. And so they're going to run Walton, who's got a huge lane off the left edge. Oh, Treadwell threw an enormous block out there on Trey Matthews. And it's a 1st down, a gain of 12.
I guarantee all secondary players in the SEC know that Laquan Treadwell is looking to light up safeties on runs.
Walton stumbles, now keeps his feet, slammed to the ground by Maurice Swain, a pickup of about 2.
Right now, this is the most important thing Hugh Freeze can do for his quarterback, Chad Kelly, and that's run the football, try and eliminate or at least slow down this pass rush and the variety of looks from Auburn. That's going to get him back into rhythm.
Only a 2-yard gain there on 1st down. Kelly off a play action. That was into traffic. Chris Frost thought he should have picked it off. Evan Ingram, the intended receiver. I believe that's the first time that Ingram's been targeted in this game. He is the all-time leader in Ole Miss history, career receiving yards by a tight end.
And here we go again. You know, another 3rd down, another long yardage situation, 3rd and 8. On Travius Adams, they bump to the outside. Kaz McKenzie standing up right here, and then you have Lawson at the top. That's a formidable pass rush.
Yeah, they keep Lawson away from Tunsil and line him up against Fawn Cooper. Here's a blitz. It's picked up. Flag is down. There was no play. A pre-snap foul.
Before the snap, false start. Offense, number 1. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So that was Treadwell on the outside.
And this is what the lack of focus. You know, we've seen this now twice. Tunsil one time. Now it's their leader, Daquan Treadwell. Not only does he jump off sides, then he drops the pass. These are your leaders. They're not just any players. Tunsil and Treadwell are your leaders. And when they have these mental lapses, it really can affect your team.
He's on the sideline now for 3rd and 14. Here comes Lawson. Kelly eludes him and dumps it off. Ingram will come up short of the 1st down, and we'll see if Ole Miss goes for it on 4th down and 4. But look at Carl Lawson getting to the backfield.
Look at the hands. Just watch his hands. Ripping that down. He comes down with that club and gets by Tunsil. He's not finishing. It's the 2nd time he's had the quarterback in his grasp and hasn't been able to get him on the ground.
But how about, I mean, that, again, you're talking the best left tackle in college football, and Lawson had no problem with him as Ole Miss is going for it on 4th down and 3.
Same area of the field where they punted the last time, Dave. I agree with this call here.
Be their 12th 4th down attempt if they snap it. Play clock is down to 3.
Tunsil again, rocking in his stance. The noise is really affecting. The left tackle is the farthest one from the quarterback. Can't hear.
Before the snap, ball start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And again, last week he had a home game. You know, this is only the 2nd game he's played this season. He didn't have that crowd noise to deal with a week ago. And now
that's a big penalty. Yeah, it's a big penalty because it backs them up. Now they're going to punt the football.
Five penalties already by Ole Miss in this game. Wunderlich punting this time. Davis did not signal. And maybe he should have. Drilled by Cody Core at the 12-yard line. Auburn's offense back on the field when we return.
To introduce the new Infiniti QX50, we could have shown it on a winding mountain pass, or somewhere even more cliche, like a downtown street. But what distinguishes the Infiniti QX50 isn't where you can take it, it's how you feel.
Ball at 8:15, Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Kicks things off at 6. And after Cam left here, they tried to replace Newt with a couple different guys. That didn't work. Nick Marshall led them to the championship game 2 years ago. Last year they struggled. This year they're using just about everybody at quarterback, at least in this game.
Yeah, and they got to do it by committee. You see Sean White, now you see Jeremy Johnson and Kerryon Johnson. 3 different looks. You know, I don't know that you have to have one quarterback all the time. And certainly in this situation where you have one that's hobbled, get a bunch of guys in there.
Here's Barber, and he dives to about the 13-yard line, picking up a couple. C.J. Johnson trips him up.
But I think at the end of the day, your point is one that's well taken. They need to get the football to Peyton Barber more in this game to take pressure off whoever's in there at quarterback, because they have got to protect their defense and they've got to protect their quarterback at the same time.
Barber originally committed to Ole Miss. He's got 12 touchdowns on the year and had 3 of them in the overtimes against Arkansas. They ran him on 1st down. White will throw on 2nd down. Has time. Has Lewis. Catch made. Lewis pushed out near the 40-yard line. Outstanding pass by Sean White.
And great job by Ricardo Lewis. This is very similar to the pass that he dropped in the end zone last week in the 4-overtime thriller against Arkansas. This time he brings it down.
28 yards through the air. Now back to Barber. Pushes the pile out to the 45 for a 4-yard pickup.
No, you look at some simple ingredients here. Get off the field on defense on 3rd down, make the plays when they come your way on offense, and you control the game.
And here's some up-tempo looks. They're going to go back to Barber. And Barber spins out of a tackle. He'll come up short of the 1st down, as the play was made by Denzel Kimdichie along with Chief Brown. 3rd and 3 coming up.
You know, you mentioned Gus Malzahn last week saying it's the first time it looked like an Auburn offense. And, you know, just watching his body language, to me, Gus Malzahn's body language tells a lot about how this Auburn offense is operating. When he's up there and he's gyrating and he's pointing and he's saying run it again and get the tempo going, that's when you know that this offense has got some rhythm.
Can they pick up a 3rd and 3? Gus Malzahn's going to call a timeout. .6:48 on the clock here in the 2nd quarter. Auburn just 1 conference win, but leading Ole Miss 10-3. Well, you go back to Cam Newton and even the last couple years with Nick Marshall, explosive plays is what this offense is about. Not so much this year, although they do have 2 today. They've been averaging about 3 per game, and one of them was on the touchdown pass by Sean White to Ricardo Lewis.
You know, Dave, I think when they had Nick Marshall, they never saw 2 deep coverage, right? Because you had to get that 11th guy or that 10th guy down in the box. Now, because you don't have that element on the perimeter, you gotta deal with 2 deep. So the big plays are a little bit more difficult downfield.
And maybe today, because you don't know who's going to play quarterback, whether it's Jeremy Johnson, Sean White, or Kerryon Johnson, they're confused defensively. 3rd and 3 for Auburn, trying to move the sticks here and get into Ole Miss territory. They have a fullback, Chandler Cox, in the game, and they're going to hand it off to Barber, and he is tackled short of the first down marker. Mike Hilton makes another play. It's 4th down and a yard. And Auburn's keeping its offense on the field. What about this decision?
You know, Gus Malzahn's an aggressive coach, but with the way that your defense has played so far in this game, certainly, I don't know that I would put him on a short field.
I kind of like it, Grease. They're 4 and 3, 1 and 3 in the league. Why not?
Yeah.
They got to get to about the 49 of Ole Miss. And White's going to throw, and it's incomplete. Intended for Marcus Davis. Tony Bridges in coverage. Well, he's trusting in a quarterback with a bad left leg there to try to complete the pass on 4th and 2, and it didn't happen.
The only time you want to go for it in 4th and 1 situations is when you know that you can run the football and get it. If you have to throw the football on 4th and 1, then you should not be going for it. That's the bottom line. You got Peyton Barber's big back in there.
Right.
Run the ball.
You got fullbacks that they use. They had a fullback in there on the 3rd down play. But Malzahn electing to throw the ball, maybe thinking, well, Ole Miss isn't expecting a 3rd down throw, but it was an inaccurate pass.
Well, here you go. Now we'll see how their defense responds. Will Muschamp challenge this team, challenge this defense to change the culture. It's not all about offense at Auburn. We'll see how they respond.
They hand it off to Pack. He was looking to throw, and Pack brought down for a loss as we go to Adnan in the studio.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Updating you on South Carolina and Texas A&M on the SEC Network. This is Perry Orth on 3rd and 8. My man can scramble. A 62-yard run that would later set up a touchdown. The Aggies have responded. Currently 14 all on the SEC Network. Dave?
All right, Bud, it's 10-3 here. Auburn on top. Play fake for Kelly. Looking downfield, airing it out. And it was thrown out of bounds. Intended for Stringfellow. Got to give your receiver a chance.
Well, give him a chance. He took one right in the chops. Casanova McKenzie came straight up the middle once again, unaccounted for. And this is why playing quarterback is tough. That's wicked. Clean hit, but wicked. They have got to start accounting for Kaz McKenzie through the A-gaps.
SEC bottom feeder in terms of defense. Last in points allowed, last in total defense, but holding Ole Miss, the best offense statistically, to 3 points. Kelly takes off. Tripped up by Jonathan Jones. He'll come up short of the first down. Same area of the field where they went for it last time, or they're going to go for it, and then there was a penalty. They punted the first time they were around here, and it looks like they'll go on 4th down and 2.
Yeah, well, he made the decision to go for it last time, and Laquan Treadwell jumped offside, so I'm not surprised he's going to go for it again here. There's Kaz McKenzie again.
Kelly saw that.
He said, I might want to at least change the protection.
And we're going to have a timeout here called by Auburn. So that's going to leave Auburn with just one timeout.
You get hit like that, it leaves an impression. I don't blame him for calling a timeout, especially 4th down. It's the first half, and you have timeouts.
Auburn used the timeout. So one timeout remaining for the Tigers. Let's go down to the field and check in with Tommy.
Well, as we've heard the noise continue to expand, Brian, one of the things you and I were looking at with Laramie Tunsil in the shotgun snap, he's had a couple of false starts. When that center sees the hand clap from Chad Kelly and his head comes up, the ball's not immediately being snapped, is it?
No, that's something to keep an eye on. See, because you don't want the defensive line to just tee off, because the defensive line is looking at the head of the center. So once that head comes up, they're timing when they come off, just like Laramie Tunsil is. And if you change that because you're having a hard time blocking the defensive lineman, now you affect Laramie Tunsil's ability to get off.
Well, it's interesting, too, guys. Auburn called timeout. Carl Lawson was not on the field for 4th down, but guess what? He's out there now. And we'll see where they line him up. Do they put him over Tunsil, or do they put him over Vaughn Cooper, the right tackle?
Yeah, they've been putting him over the guard in this bare front, and that's what's been allowing Kaz McKenzie to come from the inside and outside. Now they're going to take Lawson and put him on the outside.
Keep an eye on that matchup against Tunsil. 4th down and 2 for Ole Miss. trailing 10-3. Time to throw, a completion and a first down to the tight end, Evan Ingram. Such a reliable receiver, and he gets to the 35-yard line for 6.
And that was a good timeout. Get the right play call, get the matchup you want. Evan Ingram hasn't caught as many balls this year, but he's been affecting this offense in a lot of positive ways.
Kelly to the sideline, and Stringfellow, another gain of 9 on the play. It's interesting that Auburn threw it and didn't get it on 4th down. Ole Miss elected to throw it, showing trust in the quarterback Kelly, and he put it on the money.
Yeah, but that's Ole Miss's offense. They've been throwing the ball all over the lot all year round. I didn't expect him to throw it on 4th and 3.
2nd and 1. They'll keep it on the ground, and it's a first down for Judd. Great move, and Judd is into the end zone for the Ole Miss touchdown.
We talked about Ingram making the big 4th down catch. He hasn't caught as many balls this year, but he's been doing things like this, blocking in the run game. Here he is right here. He's just going to get the cut block on Devontae Lambert, and that's what springs Judd free for the touchdown. It's not about how many catches you get all the time, and Ingram has been unselfish, and you see some of the moves in the secondary from Akeem Judd.
His 3rd rushing touchdown, and the extra point ties the game at 10. So Auburn fans will certainly wonder why Auburn went for it on 4th down after Ole Miss scores to tie it.
Why is America safer today when we travel or go to busy places?
Because detection technology developed at
Ole Miss kicking off after the touchdown, and we'll have another touchback as Countess takes a knee. Well, when you're last in the SEC in scoring defense and total defense, and your D coordinator is Will Muschamp, there's due to be several explosions over the course of a game.
Well, he's passionate now. He's got a lot of flack for how much money he's making, $1.7 million, and but he is an outstanding football coach. He's passionate. He settles down when he comes over to the sideline. He's talking with his guys. They've played outstanding this first half, and you mentioned they're last in the SEC. They played 4 overtimes. Okay, we got to give them that. It was 24 points scored in the game last week. Ended up being 56 because of the 4 overtimes. So I give them a little bit of a break there.
His first year replacing Ellis Johnson after being the head coach at Florida, but it's his 3rd stint at Auburn. He was a GA here. As Javon Robinson gets a carry, he's back after injury, just his 4th attempt of the year, and he picks up about 4.
That was really the only significant big gainer on the ground for Ole Miss. And that's not where Will Muschamp was upset. He felt like they were being held defensively. But what I love is he turns off the faucet, goes right to the sideline, and it's all about hand claps, coaching, corrections, and moving on to the next play.
You guys talked about how much money he's making, too. He's making more than about half the head coaches in FBS. Plus, Florida's still paying him as well, but they feel he's worth it here at Auburn. Another run for Robinson. And he won't get to the first down. Picked up about 3. 3rd down and short coming.
I think he's excited because he knows he's got a good thing going here today. He's got his bell cow back, his alpha dog, and Carl Lawson back, and he senses the energy level different on the defensive side, getting after the quarterback and the confidence of his players. So despite the fact that they gave up that touchdown there on a 4th down, he knows this is going to be a 60-minute fight.
Auburn bringing an extra offensive lineman in Robert Leff, who's wearing 98, and they have a fullback. They hand it off here, and down goes Robinson for a loss. And guess who? One of the best defensive players in all of college football, Robert Kimdichie. 6.5 tackles for a loss now for the big guy.
I mean, they sold out on the run there, and Kimdichie right up against Avery Young. Veteran right tackle. It's just hard to block that guy.
And he was getting held, and he still made the play. Got a timeout by Ole Miss. As Kimdichie is back after missing last week's game due to a concussion. I mean, anytime you do an SEC game, you're going to see players that you don't see in a lot of other conferences in terms of just the freaky athletic ability. And between Lawson and Treadwell and Tunsil and Kimdichie, I mean, you just watch some of these individual matchups and get excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of stars out here. Treadwell at the wide receiver position. But, I think what's interesting here is the momentum that Auburn had in this game throughout the first quarter and a half now has switched over to Ole Miss. And as good as Auburn played, It's still a 10-10 game.
Is that because they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it, and then Ole Miss takes advantage, that momentum shifted?
Certainly. Certainly you convert 4th down situations and extend drives and then pay it off with a touchdown. It's going to change momentum.
Look how Auburn's lining up here for the 4th down and 3 punt. And this is a short kick. One punt already hit an Auburn player. That one was close. And that's why I think a Tiger ran over there to get it just in case. 39-yard punt. Here's Adnan.
All right, Dave, coming up in the Lexus halftime report, Ohio State quarterback J.T. Barrett cited for driving while intoxicated. The thoughts of Joey Galloway and Danny Cannell. Also, no Everett Golson, no Dalvin Cook, no problem for Florida State so far against the Syracuse Orange on ABC. And Temple, who loves an underdog story? The Owls taking on the Fighting Irish. What will they need to do to pull off the win? Dave, I could see you playing a pretty good Rocky Balboa. Back to you.
There's a new Rocky movie out, right? You see that? Creed?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, preview for that. I don't know if they're calling that Rocky 15 or if it's...
Adnan clearly hasn't...
Team Judd off the right side gets to the 32. 2 timeouts left for Ole Miss. Going to try to get points going into the locker room. Ole Miss had a great drive to start. 12 plays, 72 yards. And then 4 consecutive punts. And then after the failed 4th down by Auburn, the Rebels got their first touchdown. Kelly throws, and it's incomplete. Just a little bit off target. Intended for Evan Ingram. Now Auburn, if it can get a stop, could get the ball back. 3rd down and 7.
And those are the plays that Chad Kelly, his inconsistency shows. And Hugh Freeze knows that those are the plays you got to make. It looks innocuous, but you give the ball back here in this situation, you give up potentially points as opposed to going in with some momentum at halftime. It's the little things at quarterback.
Well, Will Muschamp told us we got to get off the field on 3rd down. We haven't done it all year. They're doing it today, and they'll bring some pressure here on 3rd and long. Everything's picked up, and it's a completion, a 1st down. Out to the 46-yard line is Cody Core, and that has to mean a lot to Cody, who grew up here in Auburn. His mom passed away last year. It's the first time that he's playing here at Auburn with his mom not here to watch him. They run it on 1st down to Judd, who had the touchdown. He gets a couple yards, brought down to the 49. But Cody Core was not recruited by Auburn. He wanted to go here, but Gene Chizik didn't recruit him. Gus Malzahn recruited him, but he was the head coach at Arkansas State. Core ends up going to Ole Miss. They don't even think he's going to be a factor. His mom passes away prior to training camp suddenly due to a brain aneurysm. He makes the team, becomes a starter. Kelly rolling out on 2nd and 7, heading for the 1st down, and steps out just short. 3rd and 1, 1:18 to go in the half.
It's a great story by Cody Core. You saw the 43 family members. You got a whole section, a half a section in the stadium here to cheer him on, which I think is a great way to support Cody and certainly cheer him on.
3rd down and a yard. And it's going to be a quarterback sneak. 1st down, Chad Kelly. Running behind Javon Patterson, true freshman left guard.
Plenty of time here, 1 minute 14 seconds, and Ole Miss has their 2 timeouts. Let's see how Chad Kelly operates in this 2-minute situation.
Kelly with time, long throw. Stringfellow snatches it out of the air and is close to a 1st down at the 32-yard line. He'll have it.
Fellas, that was all DeMaurier Stringfellow. If he doesn't come back to that football, it might be going the other way. Tremendous job there by the wideout, and then to have the presence of mind to get out of bounds.
And Tom, we talked earlier, he would start for just about everybody else in college football. Of course, in 3 receiver sets, he's out there anyway, but he doesn't get as many snaps as Treadwell and Core.
Where's the pass rush?
A 3-man front. Short pass to Judd, and he is ripped to the ground at the 25 by Justin Garrett. And let's see if Ole Miss uses a timeout. They will, leaving them with 1. 48 seconds on the clock. In field goal range at the 25. So each team with a timeout remaining. Take a look at our college football rankings brought to you by Capital One. Final Saturday of October. And Ohio State is off. You heard the news about J.T. Barrett, and situation where he got suspended off the field incident. Baylor in a bye. Clemson at NC State at 3:30. Yep.
Careful.
And of course, the first college football playoff rankings will be released on Tuesday. Any of these stand out to you as an upset? You mentioned Clemson, NC State.
Clemson, NC State. You know, a lot of people talk about Stanford, Washington State. You know, we had Stanford last week, and I just think they're class of college football. I don't think that they're going to let down, even though they've got to go up to Pullman. But yeah, Clemson Clemson's kind of a trap game. You know, win against Notre Dame, and then next week against Florida State. Wonder how they're going to show up.
Well, and I think so many people are kind of just waiting for that to happen at Clemson.
Don't say that.
I'm just saying people are waiting for that to happen. Now, if it doesn't happen, they're unbeaten going into their big matchup with Florida State next week. 2nd and 3. Kelly got one-on-one coverage. Stringfellow overthrown. Carlton Davis, the true freshman, covering. So now you got 3rd and 3 at the 25.
That was a missed opportunity there, Dave. You got DeMaurier Stringfellow, big physical wide receiver on a true freshman, and Carlton Davis. And the thing they love to do, Chad Kelly loves to throw the back shoulder. It was there for the touchdown, but that was an inaccurate pass.
Kelly has been outstanding on 3rd down in this ball game. Overall, he's thrown for 139 yards. 3rd and 3, and it's broken up, and it's intercepted. Blake Countess picks it off on the ricochet.
Evan Ingram has great hands. We saw it on a previous 4th down. Same play. Chad Kelly comes right back to him, and the ball goes right off of his face mask. Huge stop for Auburn defensively.
That's the 3rd big play that Blake Countess has made in this game, and the 11th interception thrown by Kelly this season.
You think Will Muschamp doesn't matter to him? I mean, he is all in. Talking with him yesterday, you know, he doesn't pull any punches. He says, you know, we have been inconsistent defensively. We've lacked playmakers. We've lacked pass rush. And now this first half, he could not be any happier with the way his defense is playing.
Here's a screen to Thomas, and Thomas across the 25, spun down. If he had broken that tackle, he might still be running. And Auburn will use its final timeout, or is this going to be a measure here? He didn't get the 1st down, so they're going to run the clock. Auburn didn't call its final timeout. I think Gus Malzahn thought that it would be a 1st down. They got to hurry. White, and it's incomplete. Now we're told they did rule a 1st down. The guys carrying the sticks still had 2nd down over there. They didn't have the sticks lined up, but they did stop the clock momentarily to reset at least the football and then wind the clock. 16 seconds left.
Now they're going to bring Jeremy Johnson into the game.
Throw it deep.
Be careful here in this situation. You know, that last pass by Sean White, they were not on the same page with the back. That could have been intercepted.
Ole Miss has 2 safeties about 30 yards downfield. This is going to be a quarterback run. And probably the final play. The half of the ball is out. They rule him down at the 31. It was picked up by Haynes. The ruling on the field is that he was down. Let's take a look to make sure.
Kimdichie came down right on top of him. See, Kimdichie gets that big paw in there.
Oh.
It
was close as to whether it was coming out. Now, the interesting thing here is if they review it further, Auburn's running into the tunnel. Ole Miss called a timeout because they want to challenge the ruling on the field. Now, here's the thing. If this is overturned, it would be Ole Miss ball. You would lose the touchdown. You can only review possession. But Ole Miss would have the ball in field goal range with time on the clock.
Very smart by Hugh Freeze to call that timeout, to at least take a look at this. And he wants the explanation. We'll take a look with you guys. Watch the left hand of Kimdichie come in, and it hits the football right there. Now, is that ball dislodged? Clearly, he's not on the ground yet, but that ball was moving.
It was. Did he lose possession, though? And there was a clear recovery, obviously. Don't worry about the return. That wouldn't come back.
This angle, yeah, you rewind that, guys. That's the angle.
Rocky Good is our replay official.
The Ole Miss coach is challenging the ruling of the player being down. The previous play is under further review.
All right, so they haven't even really looked at it now.
I think that's
Rocky Good has looked at it. I think so too. It has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt. And this is, you know, for the officials, this is difficult, right? Because if you rule that it's a fumble, now it's a touchdown for Ole Miss, right? And maybe Auburn challenges it. But the fact that it was ruled that Johnson was down, you obviously have to have video replay, and you lose the return. You would get possession and a crack at a field goal. That ball is moving. Did he lose possession?
I think, you know, I think that this was a fumble, but I would not be shocked if they say that the play stands as called. But to me, that certainly looked like a fumble, and that ball was out before his elbow came down. And boy, you take Sean White off the field, you put Jeremy Johnson in to just run a quarterback draw and be safe. And Jeremy Johnson, and look, you got to give credit to Kemdiche for hitting that football. That's an unbelievable play. It's not all about sacks and tip balls and all that. It's about effort, and that's what Robert Kemdiche brought to that play.
And not giving up, still trying to make a play with seconds ticking down in the first half when you could just make the tackle and go into the locker room.
Yeah. Well, and Ole Miss has scored in bunches. They're averaging 41 points a game coming into this, but they haven't scored in bunches in this game. It might be a 20-17 game, and that might end up being the play of the game if they get the ball and kick a field goal before half.
Now, again, they are looking to see, first of all, is it a fumble? And then if it's determined that they're going to overturn the ruling of the field, they have to see where to spot the ball. How much time do they put on the clock?
I don't think it's going to change from 2 seconds. Hugh Freeze called the timeout at 2 seconds. Ball currently is spotted at the 31-yard line.
It would be about a 49-yard field goal try for Gary Wunderlich, whose season long is 45. That's if, obviously, it's overturned. But I'm with you. It looked like that ball was coming out before the elbow hit the ground. Let's see if we can tell how much time should be on the clock if they overturn this. So sometimes when it takes this long, it means they're going to overturn it. They're just trying to figure out where to spot it, how much time on the clock. Here's the recovery there. So
that was at the 29-yard line that Marquise Haynes picked that ball up.
So actually, you got time to take a shot into the end zone here if you want, and not just kick the field goal here. You'd get the timeout back because you challenge the ruling on the field, and you won't lose the timeout if the ruling is upheld. Again, we're living in the speculative here, assuming it's overturned, but they're still looking. Matt Leffler, our referee. Rocky Good, our replay official.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The player's elbow was down before the ball came out. It'll be third down.
I'll tell you what, that's the last thing I thought we'd hear, is that the ruling in the field is confirmed by video replay. How can video replay confirm that? You could clearly see the ball moving a little bit. At least say the ruling in the field stands, that there wasn't enough video replay to overturn that, but that's a shocker.
Disagree with that one.
And that's huge. That's points for Ole Miss. Again, it's 10-10 at halftime. Almost a turnover by Auburn. But we're all even at the break. And the Lexus halftime report is coming up. Adnan Burke and company. 10-10 here at Auburn. ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. Ole Miss controls its own destiny in the SEC West if it can win out. Tied with Auburn, though, at halftime. We are back at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Dave Pasch, Brian Griese, and Tom Luginbill. Time for our AT&T strong performance. And Brian, that first half, really the story was defense on both sides. We saw a lot of future first-round draft picks making plays out there in the first half.
Well, and I think for Auburn, you held them to 10 points. They come in averaging 41 points a game, Ole Miss does, and this defense for Auburn, as we look at our AT&T Strong performance, you look at Carl Lawson, the impact that he's had early in this game. On the outside, you mentioned that matchup against Laramie Tunsil. Take a look at the technique, the hands here to get around Tunsil and get pressure on Chad Kelly. And then Kaz McKenzie, he's lined up all over the field, on the edge, on the inside. You get this kind of pressure, this kind of hit on Chad Kelly, a big hit. That starts to pay dividends later in the game. So they got to feel real good, and Will Muschamp's got to feel good about the way his defense played in the first half.
Yeah, Lawson out since the opener. He was hurt in the first half against Louisville with a hip injury. And he had 2 tackles for loss and a sack in that first half before he went down with an injury. And he missed all of last year with an ACL. So it's a guy with a ton of talent that we're really finally getting a chance to see on display.
My question is, in this second half, in a close game, is the conditioning. You know, and I know that his injury was that hip, and so how much has he been able to keep himself in shape? He's probably played, I would say, 65 to 70% of the snaps in the first half. Can he do that in the second half as well?
Ole Miss left some points out there, an interception by Chad Kelly towards the end of the half. And then Auburn, it was close to whether Jeremy Johnson fumbled the ball. The ruling in the field was that he did not, that he was down, and then replay confirmed that, even though it didn't look like replay confirmed. It should have been announced that the ruling of the field stood. All right, let's check with Tom Luganville down on the field.
Well, you know, we've talked so much about these defensive players. Robert Kimdichie was the unanimous #1 ranked player in the 2013 class. We know the impact he's made. You know who #2 was? Carl Lawson. And really the only difference between the two right now is the fact that Carl Lawson has dealt with some injuries, hasn't had the consistent on-the-field play. Brian, we've seen Myles Garrett in person, Joey Bosa in person. I don't know if there's a player defensively in college football that affects the other 10 players on the team the way number 55 does for Auburn.
Great leader, great emotional leader, and they call him the alpha dog.
Kelly rolling out on first down, dumps it off to his tight end, Evan Ingram. And that was well defended at the 28-yard line by Jonathan Jones and Jonathan Ford. So a 3-yard pickup.
But the way that you neutralize Carl Lawson, Kaz McKenzie, and this resurgent rush attack and rushing the passer for Auburn is run the football. I think Ole Miss in this second half, they've got to get back to running the football.
And here's Walton off the right side and dropped by McKenzie after a 2-yard pickup. In that first half, Ole Miss ran for 91 yards on 21 attempts. They threw it 26 times. And Chad Kelly passed for 139 yards. He is the SEC's leading passer, 12th in the country at over 300 yards per game. He also leads the conference in touchdown passes.
You know, I looking at the stats with Chad Kelly, a lot of those stats were padded against teams like UT Martin, Fresno State, New Mexico State. I don't put a lot of stock in those stats. I got to run the ball.
Kelly throws complete. That was a great catch by Evan Ingram. Snared out of midair for a first down to the 45 for 15 yards.
Same play they convert on 4th down in the first quarter. Same play that he dropped for the interception at the end of the second quarter, and they just keep coming back to that little, it's called a stick route. Just turn out, throw the football.
And here's some trickery as Treadwell was going to throw it deep. He throws it anyway, and it's complete to Walton down the sideline. How often do you see a trick play where after the first read isn't there, the guy just takes off, but Treadwell didn't do that?
He acted like a quarterback. I mean, how much more can Laquan Treadwell do? It's covered downfield. Well, now I'm going to push up in the pocket, keep my eyes downfield, just like they teach the quarterback, and he finds his running back for a big game. That's outstanding.
He's rolling left, throwing left. Now Kelly to Treadwell. He'll do what he does best. Stiff arm one guy, make a second guy miss, and get close to a first down at the 24-yard line. Laquan Treadwell, a junior who in this game last year against Auburn had his season come to an end. A horrific leg injury as he was going in to score. He fumbled on the 1-yard line of Auburn. Ole Miss lost that game. They lost Treadwell for the year. He's back and leading the conference in receiving. Incompletion there off the chest of Stringfellow as you had Treadwell out there set to block Carlton Davis.
I think Laquan Treadwell had a conversation with Hugh Freeze at halftime. Said, hey, man, I only got 2 catches in the first half. You might want to try using me a little bit more in the second half.
54 catches coming in, which leads the conference. Almost 100 receiving yards per game for Treadwell. 2nd and 10. Kelly dumps it off, and another drop. This one by Walton. And another big hit by McKenzie on the quarterback.
You know what we're seeing early on offensively in terms of tempo and then getting the ball out of Chad Kelly's hands, Brian. Everything has been quick. I don't know how confident they feel with this crowd that they can protect against this 5 defensive man front for Auburn in pass rush situations.
Well, you're right, Lugs. He just got hit again by Kaz McKenzie on the same stunt. But he needs some help from these wide receivers. They got to stop dropping the football.
2 drops in a row. 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure again. Kelly sidearms it. Stringfellow dropped at the 20, well short of the first down. And Ole Miss will try a field goal here of about 38 yards.
You know, we saw Auburn self-destruct a little bit last week, dropping the football. Ricardo Lewis had some. And now we see today Ole Miss come on the road in an environment like this. Yeah, Auburn hasn't played as well as they had expected this year, but you drop the football, you're going to be in a dogfight.
37-yarder on the way. And Wunderlich is 2 for 2 as Ole Miss has the lead.
When Neil
Kuiper, 3 Ole Miss Rebels will go in the first round, 2 in the first 5. And boy, you go down the field and see Kim Dichie. He didn't even look real, Grease. I mean, you just watch him run, the way he runs and how big he is, it's incredible. When was the last time 2 SEC players from the same team were drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft?
I think I know that answer. I think I played with one of them. Auburn, there were a couple of running backs, huh? A couple of running backs from Auburn about 10 years ago. I know I rode the back of one of them for a few games. Cadillac Williams.
That was one of them. He
Ronnie
was
Brown, the other.
Yeah, all right. Just
hey, I got the Aflac.
Ronnie Brown was selected 2nd.
Yeah, how
and
about that?
Cadillac was picked 5th.
The same position. That's even more crazy.
You're right. Another touchback. It will come out to the 25. First offensive possession for Auburn of the second half. Aflac. And let's answer what we already know. Just make it official here. They waited just for a second just to make you feel like maybe you weren't accurate, but it was Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams. Neither had a great career.
Well, Cadillac was an unbelievable. I mean, I didn't play with Ronnie. I played with Cadillac, and he was an unbelievable talent, and he was a great NFL player. He got hurt. He blew his ACL out, and he tried to come back and just wasn't the same player. So when you say that neither one of them was very good,
I didn't say they were very good. I said neither one had a great career.
Yeah, they were injured.
First down on the 25-yard line. And here's Kerryon Johnson. Had 4 attempts in the first half, and most of those came from the wildcat position. A straight handoff here. Picks up 3 yards to the 28-yard line.
Interesting now to see what Gus Malzahn, Brett Lashley do offensively. In the first half, we saw a rotation of those 3 guys, White and Johnson's. And in this second half, they've got to find some way to manufacture those explosive plays, and Gus really wants to run the football.
Sean White not healthy, has a brace on his left leg, banged up in the Arkansas game. He was a game-time decision. He'll throw here on 2nd down, and the pocket collapses. A flag down as Marquise Haynes gets another sack. He had 2 last week and 2 in this game.
Number 27, Marquise Haynes. There's a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense, number 72. That penalty is declined. Result of the play makes it 3rd down.
To left tackle Sean Coleman.
We've seen a lot of pressure from Auburn defensively. This time, they're going to hide their best pass rusher, Marquise Haynes, and bring him around off the stunt on the outside. He gets matched up on a fullback. That's fullback Cox, 27, and he's not going to have any chance at blocking the best pass rusher for Ole Miss.
Yeah, Kim Dichie back there as well. 3rd down and 12. Ole Miss rushes for Kim Dichie, pushes the offensive lineman back into the quarterback, and it's incomplete. Kim Dichie just bulldozed Alex Kozan, and Sean White, lucky he didn't throw a pick. That was deep in the middle of the field.
That's just not fair. I mean, that's just not fair. Take a look. I don't really know that I need to say much. Just take a look and watch. Talk about putting a guy on skates.
I mean, that's one arm. So I say he doesn't look real when you watch him.
Well, appropriately on Halloween, he looks like the Incredible Hulk out there.
He looks like he doesn't belong when you see him huddle up with the other defensive guys. And again, this is some of the best talent in America on that defense. Fair catch made at the 39 by Collins Moore. Ole Miss with the lead early third quarter on the road.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And DSW Designer Shoe Warehouse. Spend a little, say a lot.
Robert Kimdichie pushing back a 300-pound offensive lineman into the quarterback and doing it with one arm. And that forced an errant throw, and now a punt. Chad Kelly back to work. Kelly rebounded nicely from an interception he threw at the end of the first half. Had a solid opening drive to get the Rebels into field goal range. And now they start on their 40-yard line, keep it on the ground with Walton between the tackles. He gets swarmed at the 42-yard line.
Well, there's been so much made of Chad Kelly and his journey and some of the off-the-field emotional, impulsive decisions that he's made that have been negative, but nobody's ever questioned his talent. The physical ability is there, Brian. He's got to temper the emotions and the decision-making to get away from some of those risky plays.
Yeah, and I think Hugh Freeze has played a big role in that, Tom, and kind of keeping him emotionally stable, not too up and down, and see what happens in the second half here.
Walton dropped at the 46. Frost on the tackle. Guys, my question to you both is, can you win an SEC championship with a guy that will turn it over like Kelly does? He's thrown 11 picks this year.
Well, you got to play great defense. You know that. And, yeah, you're going to have some of those situations. I think Hugh Freeze has made the decision that he's going to live with some of those poor decisions because there's so many great plays that Chad Kelly can make. I think the answer is yes. They've beaten Alabama on the road. And if they win here today, they got 3 games left, and certainly they can win the championship.
Third down and 4. Kelly off play action. Got a wide open man. It's caught. Walton down the sideline. Steps out at the 30. Good. Great job by Kelly knowing he was going to get hit and completed the pass.
Just so many weapons. I mean, you're worried about Stringfellow and Treadwell on the outside, and then you insert Evan Ingram at the tight end position. Now you get Walton out of the backfield on a swing route. He just gets lost. It's very difficult to account for all of those players at the tempo that Ole Miss wants to run their offense.
Luke, do you agree with what Grease said earlier, that you can win an SEC championship with Chad Kelly at quarterback?
Got to play tremendous defense, and you're going to have home games against the right opponents if you're going to turn it over.
Well, they got LSU here in a couple weeks. They don't have them on the road. They have them at home. And that pass was behind the intended receiver, Quincy Attaboy-Joe. Again, Ole Miss controls its own destiny in the SEC. Next week, they're home against Arkansas. Then a bye week after 10 straight games. LSU at home at Mississippi State. And I know they have a loss out of conference. It was against an undefeated team. But I think if Ole Miss runs the table, which, again, we're looking way down the road. But if they run the table, win the SEC, even with 2 losses, they're in the college football playoff, right?
I don't know about that, partner.
Snap is low. Kelly picks and fires complete to Stringfellow to the 10-yard line. What a great play.
Yeah, these are the kinds of plays that Chad Kelly can make. Doesn't panic, doesn't come off right, but you don't want to coach this out of him. Sure, he's going to turn the ball over at times, but then he's going to pick that up and make a back shoulder throw. I mean, that's outstanding. Great concentration by Stringfellow.
He was down at the 14-yard line, so outside goal-to-go situation.
Pressure look from Auburn.
Another back shoulder throw. This one not there. Intended for Stringfellow.
These back shoulder throws that we're seeing from Ole Miss, Will Muschamp, he knew they were coming. He said, hey, listen, they're going to hit a couple. What we've got to do is limit how many they hit. We're not scared. We're going to line up. We're going to play man. We've got to have some ball awareness. And, Brian, you're right. The high-risk, high-reward proposition of Chad Kelly, wow.
I feel like there could have been interference, Tom, on that last one on Davis. Walton trying to get outside. Can't. Pushed out. So, Grease, hold on. I want to go back to what you said a couple plays ago. So you don't think if Ole Miss wins the SEC, having beaten Alabama on the road in LSU, even with the out-of-conference loss, that you don't think the SEC champ will get to play?
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. Certainly 2 losses. We'll see what happens with Memphis as the year plays out. Plus, you're also going to have either an LSU or an Alabama in all likelihood with only 1 loss, right? But they don't play in the championship game.
But the loss will be to Ole Miss.
Yep. I'm just saying there's a lot of teams out there that are going to have one loss.
3rd and 8. The pass is caught near the first down marker, but short by Adebayo.
We'll come back to that discussion later. Let's talk about this situation right here, which is a big play in the game. 4th down, they're going to go for it.
4th down and about 1 at the 5-yard line.
They bring in Liggins, the big 300-pound tight end who also plays a little bit of quarterback and Wildcat, number 15. See what they decide to do here. Last time we were in this situation, 4th and short, they threw the ball. I expect them to run it here.
You got Akeem Judd at 220 pounds as the tailback. As you mentioned, Liggins is in there on 4th and a yard with a play clock winding down and a timeout taken by Auburn.
Will Muschamp was on the 10-yard line by Lugs.
I think Auburn only had 10 guys on the field.
Clemson. We're back at Auburn, 13-10 Ole Miss. As this Auburn defense and Will Muschamp couldn't get the attention of the officials to call timeout. Now keep in mind, the head coach has to be responsible as Gus Malzahn, guys, comes sprinting down, couldn't get the field of the line judge to look over. You got to get your personnel right in this type of situation.
It is an interesting dynamic between Muschamp and Malzahn. Some call it Gus Champ, just kind of the unique dynamic between the two. 4th down. They were going to go for it on 4th down in the first half. A penalty then changed that plan. 4th and a yard.
Got big Jeremy Liggins, 300 pounds at the fullback position.
Kelly on the keeper. Going to be close. McKenzie on the stop. They're going to spot him short. Now we asked Hugh Freeze, might we see Robert Kimdichie in there on short yardage situations? Kimdichie suffered a concussion last week, or 2 weeks ago, didn't play last week, and maybe they don't want to play him on offense. They didn't get it. They turned it over on downs.
Great effort, Dave, by Devereaux Lawrence, a backup defensive tackle, number 94. You see him hustling to the football. Kaz McKenzie has his legs, and then Lawrence comes and finishes him off and pushes Chad Kelly back. Look at who's trying to get that effort. Here comes 94. Great hustle.
Did you like the call there?
Yeah, the call was fine. He ran right behind Liggins at 300 pounds. And certainly, it's just a great play defensively. You got to give credit to this Auburn defense, which all year has been maligned. You could see the emotion on Will Muschamp's face.
That's huge. Keep it at a 3-point game. Had they scored, you're talking 2 possessions. You wonder with White's injury, can they come back from 10 down? 1st down from the 5-yard line. They're going to keep it on the ground. Robinson trying to break to the outside. He gets to the 10-yard line. Marquise Haynes on the stop of Javon Robinson, who's playing in just his 3rd game this season. He's a big back, 230. That's why they want to give it to him down here inside their own 10. They keep the same formation, or at least the same personnel in the game, but the fullback Chandler Cox in there along with Robinson. Here's Robinson again, and he's got the 1st down out to the 19-yard line. He's the talent, no doubt, Javon Robinson.
You let Kimdichie, if you can't block him, here he is. He's going to come up the field, use his biggest strength against him. Comes up the field, and then you go right underneath. He's not even blocked. Great design by Gus Malzahn in this Auburn offense. You got to run the ball between the tackles, give your defense a break, take some time off the clock. And Javon Robinson in the middle is a good idea.
White back to throw, in trouble. Eludes pressure, throws deep, pulled in, inside the 40 by Melvin Ray with 2 defenders on him.
Fidel Brown and Marquise Haynes meet at the quarterback, is just about a half a yard too deep. Great job by Sean White of stepping up into the pocket and giving Ray a chance downfield.
45 yards on the pass play. And got an injured.
That's Fidel Brown there.
Yeah, defensive end for Ole Miss. And how about White? He got his first touchdown pass of the season on a deep ball to Ricardo Lewis in the first half. And then finds Melvin Ray downfield there.
You talk about Sean White, you know, he doesn't jump off the film at you. It's not like he's going to throw the ball as hard as a lot of guys, but the little things right there, stepping up into the pocket to avoid that sack, gives you an opportunity to make a play downfield.
You know, he knows people are grabbing at him. Watch his eye. His eyes are downfield. And this is what Rhett Lashley talked about. The ability to block out everything else and focus.
You know, Lugs, he sees the field real well, too. That's what I'm noticing from up here is there's not a thing he's not prepared for or ready for.
Inside the 40-yard line, they'll hammer it between the tackles. Robinson inside the 30. Slips another tackle. Robinson carrying the pile down to the 15-yard line. A 22-yard run with defenders on his back.
230 pounds. You get that going downfield, downhill. Hard to get him on the ground.
Here he is again. They don't want to touch him. Oh, he lowers the shoulder, crushes a DB, and gets the first down. C.J. Hampton tried to make the play. Robinson said, no way. Taking him out.
You're going to get the same play from Gus Malzahn. You get this thing rolling, you're going to see Devon Robinson between the tackles.
Here it is, and this time they get him. Good play by Carlos Davis, a corner, not afraid, came in there low and made the hit, up end to the back. 2nd and goal.
Well, you know this Ole Miss defense has a lot of pride. You know, they give themselves that. You give yourself a nickname, you better respond. You know, you can't just lay down when a guy like Devon Robinson's running over you.
Jeremy Johnson coming in now. The controversy at the end of the half when they were just trying to run out the clock. He went down. It appeared that he may have fumbled. The ruling in the field was that he was down. That replay confirmed it. 2nd and goal. And he's looking to run here. He'll get to about the 3-yard line, bringing up 3rd down and goal.
Boy, I'd be hard pressed to take Devon Robinson off the field in that situation. You know that the Ole Miss defense is going to sell out for him. So if you don't want to give it to him, you don't feel great about it, then just have the naked off of it with Sean White.
They're going to bring him back in.
Yeah, but now it's 3rd and 3, and it's difficult to run the football into the end zone here. Unless you're thinking 4-down territory. I just think 2nd down was the time for play action if we were going to do it.
3rd down and goal from the 3. White rolling out, looking, and he actually lost yardage. He should have thrown the ball. He didn't. He got pushed out by DJ Jones, and now they have to try a field goal. You're 4th and goal near the 6-yard line. See, that's because of the 3-yard loss.
It's just a missed opportunity there, and I don't put that on the players. That's on the coaches. That's on Gus Malzahn in that situation. I understand that Jeremy Johnson's been your kind of inside the 5 quarterback, and he's a big runner. But you were running the ball well with Devon Robinson. To spread it out and think that Ole Miss isn't going to be ready for a quarterback draw, it's not your best play in that scenario.
And last week, all they did against Arkansas was keep running the same play, hammering the ball, but they went away from it on that drive. And it worked against Arkansas. 23-yard attempt by Carlson to tie the game. 13 apiece with 3:46 to play in the 3rd quarter.
Tomcat.
There's one game between ranked teams today, and it's Saturday Night Football presented by Walmart and ABC, and it's Temple and Notre Dame. The Owls 21st rated team in the country, Notre Dame number 9. As Auburn put together a nice scoring drive, but it stalled. They went away from Robinson when nobody could stop him, although I guess on 1st down they did take him down at the point of attack. But he had 47 yards on 5 carries on that drive alone.
Yeah, I think the point is, what I'm trying to say is I don't know that you give the ball again to Devon Robinson in that 2nd down scenario, but at least you know what the defense is going to do. And if I'm a play caller and I know what the defense is going to do is sell out to stop Devon Robinson, it's easy for me to dial up a play where I can get the ball in the end zone off play action.
Walton and Wilkins are deep. And with Carlson kicking off, he can pretty much guarantee there's going to be a touchback. Adnan in the studio.
All right, Dave, thank you. Updating you on what's happening over on the SEC Network. In South Carolina taking on Texas A&M. And look at that pick there by Donovan Wilson. Going to take it all the way to the house. Currently 35-21 for the Aggies late in the third. Dave, Brian, back to you guys.
All right, Adnan, A&M trying to bounce back. Lost to Ole Miss last week, 23-3, as they had under 200 yards of total offense. Ole Miss done a pretty good job for the most part defensively on Auburn, but on that drive, that was the best drive the Tigers had put together in this game. They had to settle for a field goal. Meanwhile, how about Auburn's defense? Holding the top scoring team in the conference to just 13 points. A lot of time left though. Judd trying to find a running lane, and he gets stood up at the 28-yard line. 3 yards. Maurice Swain made the stop. They are stout defensive tackle with Devereaux Lawrence. You talked about him earlier making a play. Maurice Swain, Montravius Adams, Dontavius Russell.
Well, I think it's kind of lost that they're playing in a new defense too. Will Muschamp brings in a new scheme. They got to get used to it.
Kelly throws, and it's caught by Treadwell. Lunges for the first down at the 35-yard line.
But I think, everybody assumed when Will Muschamp came over to Auburn that this defense would just be gang lights out right off the bat, and that's just not the case. It takes time to install your defense the way you want to play, and so far the best unit on the field today has been this Auburn defensive line.
And again, when you don't have your best defensive player, Carl Lawson, he impacts that entire group. Such a fiery leader as well, holding guys accountable. Penalty marker thrown. There was movement up front by Ole Miss.
False start. Offense. Number 72. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Byron Cowart, the much highly recruited true freshman, 6'3", 277 pounds, number 9. He's on the field now, and you put him opposite of Carl Lawson. You got a bookends.
Cowart was going to go to Florida, but then Will Muschamp got the D coordinator job as that pass is tipped and caught by Treadwell. Almost intercepted by Ford. Treadwell stayed after it. He probably should have just, well, he did get 1 yard, I guess, second down.
Well, if Laquan Treadwell doesn't fight back for this football, that's a pick 6. Now, we've seen that a couple times this year where Chad Kelly will throw a 50-50 ball and it could be picked and his receiver bails him out.
2nd and 14. Kelly with time over the middle. Treadwell with the grab and a first down. And he won't go down to the 45-yard line. Put his hand on the ground, but that means he's still alive. And he got an extra 5 or 6 yards because of it.
There's no quit in number 1. You mentioned broke that leg in this game a year ago. Look how he competes on every single snap. It's that attitude. When he broke his leg, first thing he asked, did I score? Did we win the game? It's his attitude.
Kelly with time, long throw, deep ball, caught inside the 10. Great move at the 5. Heading to the end zone is Derek Jones, his first touchdown this year.
Laquan Treadwell, look at him. You talk about leadership, coming off the sideline, celebrating with Derek Jones' first touchdown. We've seen that time and time again this season. Laquan Treadwell, the leadership piece of it. Great double move on the outside by Jones.
The 19th touchdown pass that Kelly has thrown on the year. That's the most in the SEC. So the defensive stop and then the lengthy drive for a touchdown to take a 7-point lead.
Yeah, so take a look on the outside. Just a little stutter go. Great design there by Hugh Freeze and the offense. In order to do that, you need time. And to get time, you typically will roll out. Nice little half roll. Good protection. Montravius Adams doesn't get there in time. Big play.
Boy, since that interception that Kelly threw at the end of the first half, he's been fantastic. And there's the leadership you're talking about with Treadwell. Wants it so badly.
Yeah.
And that's infectious when guys see that. When you're congratulating your fellow receiver on his first catch of the game and his first touchdown of the season,
you got to show you care about your fellow wideouts. You care about everybody on the team, and it's not just coming out to celebrate, Dave. Last week he came out against Memphis. They miss a 3rd and 1 short yardage situation, a big play, come up short, and the first guy on the field is Laquan Treadwell to rally his troops. It's been impressive to watch his growth in that area.
By the way, Chad Kelly in this quarter, 11 of 15, 156 yards and that touchdown. Another touchback. It will come out to the 25. Well, here it was last year. Treadwell with these two teams ranked in the top 5 going in to score. Fumbles, a horrific leg injury, but he worked hard to come back, strengthen that leg, and he again is considered a first-round pick. Could be the first wide receiver taken if he comes out. He's a junior. Well, he's the SEC in receiving.
I think he's better, Dave. I think he's better than he was before the injury. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you see it go the other way, obviously, where you just can't recover from something like that. But the amount of work, the sweat, and the heart that Laquan Treadwell put in the offseason to get ready for this year certainly has paid off, because I think he's better than ever.
Let's see how Sean White responds. The redshirt freshman quarterback making his 5th career start. Got a pass deflected at the line, incomplete. Let's check in with Adnan.
All right, Dave, thank you. Florida State and Syracuse once again. No Dalvin Cook, no Everett Goldsmith. Sean McGuire has been terrific. 338 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Rudolph's been pretty good, too. 35-14 on ABC. Back to you, Dave.
Again, coming off that crazy ending against Georgia Tech last week, and they're taking it out on Syracuse in Tallahassee. Sean White from Boca Raton, Florida, threw his first touchdown pass of the season in the first half. Javon Robinson driven to the ground by Denzel Kimdichie, older brother of Robert. He's much smaller than Robert, but made a big hit. Two-time All-SEC player, came in leading the Rebels in tackles. He is a senior, weighs 208 pounds. Kimdichie weighs about 308. Robert, anyway.
Guess we know who got to eat first at the house.
Even though he was younger. 3rd down and 10. And got single coverage. Lewis is open. What a throw by White. A near perfect pass by Sean White. He hobbles down the field with that injured left knee. There is a penalty marker down, though, at the 40-yard line.
There's a nice pump. You'll see him pump the screen on the outside, and that allows Lewis to get behind the defense. But look at this throw. You're right. I mean, it's just on the money. That flag is down at the 40-yard line.
46-yard pass play if it stands, but they're moving the Tigers back.
And Gus Malzahn was able to manufacture again another creative, explosive play with the fake screen down the field. This would be painful if it's come back on a penalty.
There's still some discussion as to what exactly happened. In the first half, Ole Miss was penalized a handful of times. Auburn had one penalty. I'm not sure were they thinking there might have been offensive pass interference. I mean, the flag was thrown at the 40, which was 15 yards downfield.
Not sure what they were. I'm not sure what they were looking at.
So no penalty. First down at the 29 of Ole Miss as Auburn looks to tie the game on this possession.
Again, remember, this is the area of the field where Gus Malzahn loves a little trickeration. And they bring in Jonathan Wallace in the slot, who's a backup quarterback.
Javon Robinson is in also a tailback, and he'll get it straight ahead. And he's inside the 25. They try to tackle him by the jersey, and that doesn't work. He gets 7 yards.
Now, here's the area where you're going to see go real quickly. They're going to run the same exact thing. But then after they get it, watch what this coaching staff does here.
Robinson again. Great patience that time. Waiting for the hole to open. And he gets to the 12 for 9 more yards.
Now look at Gus Malzahn. They're getting the thing set. They're going to go, but they're holding off because they want to see how Ole Miss aligns. Then they're going to get set and run. So he's slowing things down here in the red zone.
It looked like Ole Miss might blitz. You saw Tony Bridge creep down.
Yeah, you see Gus right there saying, is he coming? Is he coming? And then he makes his call. It's hurry up to get the defense to declare and then get the right play call.
Move the fullback over there. Here's Robinson, and good play made by Kimdichie at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Fourth quarter coming up from Auburn. Ole Miss leading by 7 over the Tigers. watching the SEC on ESPN. Fourth quarter, Ole Miss leading Auburn 20-13. And after tonight's game, Stanford and Washington State from Pullman, it'll be SportsCenter. I'll also tell you about what happened between the Royals and Mets. Game 4 of the World Series and all the college football highlights. What upsets will take place here as we're on the cusp of November. Ole Miss comes in 6-2, 3-1 in the SEC. Auburn 1-3, trying to right its season, get to 5 wins overall. And they are in the red zone with a 2nd down and 10 at the 12-yard line of Ole Miss.
They got the quick out to the receivers anytime they want it.
White to throw to the end zone, incomplete. The receiver Tony Stevens got turned around that time, so it's 3rd down. He was open though.
It was the right idea. They throw the ball to the outside because the corners were so far off and inside. If they would have just brought that ball down a little bit, it would have been an easy touchdown for Stevens.
And on 3rd down and 10, it's an obvious passing situation. Javon Robinson is in the game. He had 62 rushing yards in that 3rd quarter.
Gus Malzahn's thinking this 4-down territory.
White over the middle, caught inside the 5. Davis flags down, and Davis is ruled into the end zone for the touchdown. The 2 penalty flags are down. The linesman says it's a hold on the offense.
Holding. Offense, number 87. That's a 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Gray King, who does not play a lot, was out there on that play and committed a foul that cost him a touchdown.
And you didn't need to. Gray King right there. You see, trying to get a block, and you just get an arm wrapped around. Costly penalty there. I don't think that Bridges is going to make that play either way.
That's a killer. Now you're 3rd down and 14 at the 16-yard line, so maybe you're out of 4-down territory here. See what happens on 3rd down. White slides up, passes into the end zone, incomplete. It may have gotten tipped at the line. Kendarius Webster probably should have picked it off. That came out awkwardly, though, from White's hand. It's 4th down, and they will try the field goal.
Yeah, Ricardo Lewis went out, and I think Sean White was expecting him to come in, but they are very fortunate that that ball was not intercepted, because obviously you get an opportunity here with Daniel Carlson, who's a sure-footed kicker, to make this a 3-point game.
4 points if he can put this through here. Carlson 2 of 2, made a 52-yarder and a 23-yard try. And this one hooks through. So the Tigers get 3 points out of that drive, and they're down 4. So Ole Miss and Laquan Treadwell will be back on offense when we come back. He's done it all today for the Rebels, who have a 4-point lead early 4th. College football primetime presented by Hilton, Michigan and Minnesota. We certainly wish Jerry Kill the best had to retire this week due to health reasons. That game at 7, followed by Stanford and Washington State. Boy, the Cardinals, since that week 1 loss against Northwestern, look as good as anybody in college football. And the biggest reason why, our U.S. Navy primetime spotlight, Christian McCaffrey leading the country in all-purpose yards in the Heisman Trophy race, as Stanford, with 1 loss to Northwestern, may have to go unbeaten in Pac-12 play, win the league to make it to the college football playoff. Speaking of the playoff, will the SEC winner get a spot? If it's Ole Miss, the Rebels actually control their own destiny. They're 3-1 in conference play. LSU is unbeaten. Alabama 4-1, but Ole Miss handed Alabama its lone loss. LSU has to come to Ole Miss on November 21st.
And I think Ole Miss controls their own destiny in the SEC. I'm not so sure that they control their own destiny in the playoff. They went out, have 2 losses. I think there's a lot of other teams like Stanford, you mentioned. You know, the Big Ten champion may have 1 loss. Clemson You know, Baylor, TCU, it'd be hard to, as you see Akeem Judd here.
Oh, great run by Judd out near the 40-yard line, picked up 14.
But it's not a foregone conclusion that fourth spot would go to a 2-loss Ole Miss as an SEC champion. And I think for that reason, the rest of the SEC is rooting against Ole Miss for the rest of the year.
Tom, you agree with that?
I agree with Grease. I think there's too much football to be played. What we're seeing is in this quick screen out here, DeMaurier Stringfellow, another great block on the perimeter right there by Laquan Treadwell. We're going to draw a penalty here and see what happens. But here's the thing that's going to take place. The meat of the Big 12 schedule's coming up. So we don't know TCU, Oklahoma, Baylor. We don't know what's going to happen with Notre Dame as they face Stanford later.
Offense, number 1, 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Hey, Luke, since you were doing play-by-play, I'm going to do a little analysis. You're both wrong. If they win out, they're the SEC champs with wins over Alabama and LSU. They're getting in.
I don't agree. Because you're going to have teams like Stanford, Clemson, the Big Ten, and Baylor or TCU that are going to be there. It's not a foregone conclusion, is what I'm saying. Could happen.
How many unbeaten teams are there? I guess that's the question. Do you have 4 unbeaten teams?
No, but you'll have a conference champion with 1 loss instead of 2, potentially, like Stanford.
First down and 12. A spot foul. Ball on the 37 of Ole Miss. Kelly with time, lets it fly, and it is tipped incomplete. Man, Attaboy almost caught that off the redirection from Ford.
Every time Chad Kelly wants to push the ball down the field, he's getting pressure in the back. This time he's just throwing it up. That's a 50-50 ball again. But he can't be accurate when you're throwing off your back foot like that. He's been hit time and time again by McKenzie. That time it's Lawrence. It's difficult to push the ball down the field when you can't step into it.
See the numbers for Kelly, over 300 passing yards. Throws an interception. Picked off by Chris Frost. His second interception of the year. Kelly's second of the game.
Not only is it hard to push the ball down the field when you have pressure, but it's also difficult to see dropping linebackers. Here's Chris Frost right here. You're going to see he's just going to hide behind the defensive line. I don't think Chad Kelly ever sees him. You get pressure from Lawson. He tries to fit it in, and Chris Frost makes a great defensive play.
So Auburn will get possession in Ole Miss territory. The Rebels lead the country in most turnovers, and that's 2 picks by Kelly. Kerryon Johnson is in as the Wildcat quarterback. They going to pitch it to Jeremy Johnson. He's going to fire deep. Triple coverage. It's caught anyway. Inside the 5 by Tony Stevens. First and goal, Tigers. 45-yard pass play by Johnson.
And Trey Elston, the safety, is upset. He thought Tony Stevens pushed off, and I think I agree with him. Tony Stevens was down inside the 5, just giving him a chance, but look at him push right there, the hands on the back. That should have been called offensive pass interference. Yes. He got away with one.
You're right. Instead, it's first down and goal at the 3. Peyton Barber, who hasn't touched it here in the second half, he's in. White gets under center to take the snap and pitch it to Barber. And Barber is lifted off his feet and stood up for a loss of 1 at the 4-yard line.
Well, Trey Elston took out the fact that he didn't get the penalty flag. He took it out on Peyton Barber. He came up from the safety spot and brought the wood.
Now, was that by design for White to, at the last second, go under center? If not, why did he do it?
Yeah, I think they're trying to be creative to create these opportunities to get the ball in the end zone. Gus Malzahn, one of the more creative coaches in college football, and Rhett Lash is just another way to try to confuse the defense.
White rolling to his left, throws, incomplete. DJ Jones got in the backfield, and White maybe rushed that pass to Kerryon Johnson.
That's a tough throw. It's a tough throw. Rolling to your left. If you're a right-handed quarterback, you see a flag come down late.
Yeah. In the middle of the field at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, there were some substitutions going on. Some jawing going on, and then there was a flag. But that's a tough throw, Dave.
An eligible player downfield on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Boy, you don't see that a lot inside the 5-yard line, right?
And Gus is trying to say that that ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look. They snap it from the 4-yard line. Kozan, number 63, 73. Golson is on the goal line. Lugs, what'd you see down there?
Well, right now, Gus is trying to get the official. Hold on.
Second down.
Trying to get the officials' attention in the sense that they felt the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, number 1, and that the ball was tipped, which should have negated the penalty.
Right, but 3 yards. I mean, it was close between the 1 and the goal line. You usually don't see it when it's that close. I'm surprised they even threw the flag there for illegal man downfield.
Yeah. If you're Gus Malzahn, you got to put it behind you and get your next play called.
Let's see if it was tipped by Jones.
No, it's tipped by his own player.
Yeah, they're on the goal line. Yep. Carry on Johnson. So 2nd and goal. We'll try it again from the 9. White getting a check. Either a check or a timeout. It was a timeout called by Gus Malzahn.
So keep your composure in this situation, you know.
They're down to 1 timeout with 12:15 to go in the 4th quarter.
Who does this?
It's been a rough year for the Auburn Tigers. 4-3 after being picked to win the conference. And they played hard today, but trail Ole Miss early in the 4th as the Rebels look to improve to 4-1 in the SEC. They passed Brian Griese, Tom Luganville on a beautiful day here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn with a 2nd down and goal at the 9-yard line. Sean White, the starting quarterback. He was a game-time decision.
Good unbalanced line into the boundary here, Dave.
White to throw. End zone. Great catch by Lewis, but he was out of bounds. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Lewis had a touchdown in the first half.
Well, I like the call here. You know, taking an aggressive shot to the end zone. Ricardo Lewis has been sure-handed in this game as opposed to last week. He's rebounded, but just about 6 inches away from being a catch.
You get a field goal, gets you within 1. We'll see what kind of play call we get here if they're thinking they're in 4-down territory from the 9-yard line. White, and it's dropped. Brock Thomas. Like they had that set up too. 4th down, and now they'll have to kick a field goal.
Yeah, they were trying to set up a screen. They released the left tackle, Sean Coleman. He came out, got a kick-out block, and Brock Thomas was going to try to cut it up underneath. It would have been interesting because big Robert Condici was barreling down on him as well. That might be why he didn't catch that football.
Carlson has been perfect today, 3 of 3. Another short attempt, 27 yards. Auburn has not been very good in the red zone today in terms of touchdown percentage. Carlson's money on that kick, and it's a 1-point game at the 12-minute mark.
Football is presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Dr. Pepper and college football. It's a one-of-a-kind tradition.
There is the gentleman that invented the college football playoff. If you've seen the commercial, it's Halloween. Dressed up as Larry, I believe is his name.
You know, that's a great costume. You're guaranteed to get on television if you wear that to the game.
Smart man. What are you going as tonight if you get home?
I think I'll be a sports broadcaster. Kids are going to be Dracula. No, I like the old-fashioned skeleton, Dracula.
In other words, we're just going to get home and go like that. And
yeah.
You're going to be an announcer, okay? I'm going to go with stilts, tie-dye, and ask people if they've ever been in a volcano while it's erupting. Take a guess who I'll be. That's a touchback. Let's go to Adnan in the studio.
I am sure Brian Griese loves It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Retro, I love it. Keenan Reynolds, though, is all about getting it done right now. He's been a great story for Navy today, taking on South Florida. 77 touchdowns, tying Monte Ball. He's got so far 2 today. That one on 4th and goal, 29-17. It is all Navy. Back to more Dracula talk. Dave and Brian.
We're going to shelve that for now. We got a 1-point game, Adnan. 20-19, Ole Miss on top. Let's see the response from Chad Kelly off the interception. I'm going to hand it off. Walton, not Bill, but Jalen across the 25 gets about 4 to the 29. Montravius Adams on the stop.
Well, no surprise the response there is to run the ball, but this is what Will Muschamp told us this week. He said, listen, with as many wow throws that Chad Kelly will make, he will also make some bonehead throws. He's going to throw it to us, guys. Just be patient.
Had the pick in the first half, Tom. That was on a deflection. It was a great play. Second interception by Frost. Kelly throws wide open as they leave the best player on the field, Treadwell, and he gets to the 38-yard line.
You know Hugh Freeze is banking that this fierce pass rush is not going to continue through the fourth quarter. And if you give Chad Kelly time and Treadwell space, they're going to make you pay. And right now, Carl Lawson's on the sideline. If I'm Hugh Freeze, I'm calling my passes when 55's on the sideline.
33-yard pass play. Back to the ground game. Walton finds a hole. Gets pinballed backwards, though. Tackled by Byron Cowart. A pickup of about 2 on the play. Again, even if Ole Miss were to get a touchdown, it still would be a one-score game as Lawson stays on the sideline. Even Will Muschamp didn't know how many reps he could give Lawson, given the lack of conditioning and being out all the time with a hip injury. Kelly off a play fake, rolls, throws complete, and another Ole Miss first down. Cody Core, the Auburn native, on the catch, and 12 more yards.
Here comes Carl Lawson back on the field. I think Will Muschamp realizes, look, I can't keep him over here. I got to get him out there as he brings his true freshman Byron Cowart out. But they've been great in the red zone, Dave. Now they're in the red zone again.
Throws a little bit behind. Attaboy Joe gets a block, though, from Treadwell. And a gain of about 4. Neither team, though, has a touchdown in the red zone. Both teams have had to settle for field goals, and they're on the cusp of the red zone right now, just inside the 21 for second down.
The defenses have been stout. 3 times each team have been with a possession in the red zone and 0 touchdowns.
Kelly to the end zone, and Treadwell. Oh, my goodness! Over the shoulder touchdown! One of the best catches you'll see in college football in 2015.
This is routine for Treadwell. This is what he does all the time. They finally got the matchup they wanted with freshman Carlton Davis on one of the best wide receivers in the country, and Treadwell is not going to miss that throw.
That's a lot more difficult than it looks. You got your back to the football, you stick your arms up while you got a defender grabbing your jersey, and he pulls it in for 6.
Give some credit to Chad Kelly, too. That ball was perfectly thrown. He won it on the outside shoulder. Have it come down. Very difficult to defend now. They're going to take a look at this.
To see if he had possession. Did he step on the end line? Did he control it to the ground?
I like the shimmy, the dance. Let's take a look. He's got away with Carlton Davis is holding him, too. So he's got the ball. He's got possession there.
Does he, though? Does he have possession? It's really hard to tell. Again, the ruling on the field is what's
he's got the
most
ball
important.
In his left hand. I think he's got it in one hand. And now he's going to take 2 or 3 steps here. Ball's still on his belly there.
It's hard to tell if he's got the left arm on it. Does he have it secured all the way to the ground? It would seem there that he does. Again, is there enough video evidence beyond all doubt to overturn this? I don't think so. I think he's got it there. Boy, it's hard to tell.
That's a touchdown. He's got the ball in his left hand. It's pinned against his chest. That's control. And a great catch and a great play and a great throw. What a response by Ole Miss offensively.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's a touchdown.
So Laquan Treadwell with his 6th receiving touchdown. Could it be the winning score? He almost had the winning score last year. He fumbled on the 1 against Auburn, broke his leg when it happened. And certainly he's had this game circled on his schedule. Point after makes it an 8-point lead for Ole Miss. Treadwell's been doing everything, throwing passes, blocking guys downfield, and now getting a touchdown catch. Football ahead. Don't choose between games. Put one game on the big screen, another on your computer, tablet, smartphone. You can watch them all on the Watch ESPN app or go to watchespn.com. Laquan Treadwell, 7 catches, 114 yards and a touchdown. His 5th 100-yard game of the season, tying a single-season Ole Miss record. I don't know if people realize how difficult of a catch that was over the shoulder. You think I'm exaggerating, don't you? You think that was a great catch?
It was a great catch, but I mean, you go a little overboard, you know. Give a little credit to the quarterback every now and then. You know, he gets hit. And
wait, didn't you tell me he threw it over the?
I
thought you said he threw it over the wrong shoulder. Here's Kerryon Johnson past the 30. Good return to the 32.
Let's look at Laquan Treadwell doing everything today. He's been great blocking. We knew he's a physical force in the run game. Throwing the football, Dave. You give him some credit when he's a quarterback.
Yeah. Saved
his quarterback here, and then Luke's. This catch. Tell us about this catch over the shoulder. How hard is that?
Realize that once the ball passes the face mask of the receiver never sees the ball go from his head to his hands. So you're catching the ball blind.
Thank you, Luke. See?
At least, all right, it was a good catch.
Thank you. First down. Auburn goes back to the ground. Bouncing off of a tackle is Javon Robinson, and then caught from behind by Haynes at the 35. So it's a 2-yard run. Auburn needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it. A lot of time left.
We haven't seen Peyton Barber. I think, you know, after last week, I think he got a little banged up, 37 carries. So now it's the Javon Robinson show here, and I think you're going to see a healthy dose of him. For Auburn, don't panic. Down 8, obviously plenty of time in the game. Just do what you do well in the second half. Run the football.
White off play action, looking downtown. Now he'll take off. Got that bad wheel, and he slides after he got the first down. Got the brace on his left knee. He was a game-time decision. And he may have injured himself on that run. 16 yards, he's coming to the sideline.
Looks like the brace is coming off. Yeah, he broke that brace. So looks like he's running okay. Just needs to get that brace off.
So Jeremy Johnson comes in the game. Johnson threw a beautiful pass on a trick play earlier in this game. Robinson. And that Landshark defense flying to the football, led by Fidel Brown. So a short gain. Second and long coming up.
Yeah, if I'm in that huddle, I'm telling Javon Robinson, do not bounce the football. You run downhill. There's no yards to gain going lateral against this defense. They're too fast. Brett Lashley told us that last night. You got to go downhill, and that's Robinson's game anyway.
They took the brace off the left leg of White. Looks like he's going to go the rest of the way without it. 2nd and 8. Johnson to throw and fires deep, and this one is deflected and incomplete. Trey Elston tipped it. It was intended for Jason Smith, and so it's 3rd down, and White will come back in for Johnson at quarterback.
Yeah, and you know, there's a smattering of boos coming from this stadium. They've seen enough of Jeremy Johnson just throwing the ball down the field in a hope throw. And you need to be efficient here. You're not trying to get that big, huge chunk play and high risk, high reward. You just need to get first downs and keep the ball here.
You know, White just doesn't look right after that run. 3rd down and 8. We'll see how he handles this drop back. And that one was behind the receiver, Jason Smith, incomplete. It's 4th down. Auburn only has 1 timeout, 8:28 remaining. Gus Malzahn is thinking about it here, and now he's going to send in the punt team, which is the right choice.
Yeah,
Too much time left.
Unfortunate there, because you get a first down scrambling with Sean White, and then the knee brace breaks, and then he has to come off, and then you get, you know, a poor decision to just force the ball down the field, and the rhythm of that series was off when that knee brace came off.
Here's Kevin Phillips looking to pin Ole Miss deep. Collins Moore going to let it bounce at a 2, and it goes into the end zone for the touchback. Let's go to the studio and check in with Adnan.
All right, thank you, Dave. One final update. What happened with South Carolina and Texas A&M? This is Donovan Wilson with another interception. And so the Aggies go on with a 35-28 victory. Kyler Murray's numbers overall, you see them there. And coming up next, just a friendly reminder, Mason Rudolph and the Cowboys taking on Texas Tech. Things always get a little wacky in Lubbock. Why should Halloween be any different? Lots of great college football action. Coming up, Dave, back to you.
Adnan, Oklahoma State, one of 12 unbeatens left.
First and 10, Ole Miss from the 20.
Ole Miss leading Auburn, looking to put the Tigers away on this possession with 8:19 to go, an 8-point lead. They're going to run it. And taken down in the backfield is Judd. It was Devereaux Lawrence got off a block and made the play. A setback of a couple of yards on first down.
Well, you know Auburn is going to sell out to stop the run. Kaz McKenzie gets up a little bit shaky there. You need to get him off the field. That's that situation. You get up a little wobbly, and right off the bat, the official can too stop and say you need to get him off the field.
Carl Lawson is lined up at left defensive end here. They dump it off to Judd, and he gets sandwiched at the 24-yard line. Frost and Davis team up on the stop. A big third down for Ole Miss. Third down and 5.
I think Will Muschamp's going to try to come after Chad Kelly here. Although Kaz McKenzie, as you saw, is off the field. He's been their third down nightmare getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, they've been bringing him up the middle a lot. Four-man rush. Kelly steps up to run, and Kelly gets the first down. Took a shot from Trey Matthews, but still moved the chains. Picked up about 9.
Well, and that's right where Kaz McKenzie would have been at his Mike linebacker spot. He's on the sideline. I wonder if Chad Kelly noticed that and says, if I don't have anything, I'm going to use my feet to get a big third down conversion.
That's the case. That's a really smart play. First down. Boy, 27 first downs for Ole Miss in this game. Kelly with a defender in his face dumps it off to Judd. And Judd gets lit up by Adams at the 39-yard line.
We've talked about how will Chad Kelly respond off of the turnover 2 series ago, but when he chose to tuck the ball and run, if you noticed, he switched the ball into his other hand away from inside traffic to secure that football, get down, get the first down. That's a smart, heady play with some awareness of the situation here with just under 6.5 to go.
We see the maturity after the interception. Again, he's going to make those mistakes, but he's also going to make plays like you just saw to help the team. He's going to hand it off to Walton, trying to find a hole. Gets wrestled to the ground short of the first down. Dontavius Russell made the stop. Another huge third down for Auburn defensively as we are inside 6 minutes to go in the fourth. What does Will Muschamp dial up here?
Well, third down's been the nemesis for Auburn all year. They've been much better in this game. The biggest third down of the game right now.
It's going to be a pass play. Kelly throws incomplete. Intended for the 300-pound tight end, Jeremy Liggins. Now it's fourth down, and Ole Miss will kick the football.
Well, Evan Ingram has not been in the game, been a part of this, and so they substitute him with Jeremy Liggins. Liggins wasn't even looking for the ball. Again, that's fortunate Ole Miss is that ball wasn't intercepted as well. But Ingram was on the field. They just haven't been targeting him in the second half.
Marcus Davis is deep. Here's Gleason's punt. And Davis signaled for the fair catch. We'll see where they spot it. They're going to put it down at the 10-yard line. So Auburn needs to go 90 yards, get a touchdown, and then a 2-point play to tie it. And Gus Malzahn has been rotating different players with Sean White, Jeremy Johnson, Kerryon Johnson running the Wildcat. And what do you expect here on this possession? You got 5:25, 1 timeout. How much running will we see on this possession? Jeremy Johnson, we'll see if he goes in on this drive to run some quarterback runs, or do you expect mostly pass plays?
Well, you know, the last drive, as you see Sean White late, he was trying to get that knee brace back on, Dave. Had to take on. It's hard to get that thing on. You got to take the pants off, then put the knee brace on, and then try to get the pants back. It's a nightmare. I never liked wearing those things, but he got it back on. He's back on the field.
Only 3 of 10 passing in the second half. He will throw here on 1st and 10, and has Cox, his fullback, out of the backfield. And he's crawling for the first down, but he'll come up a yard short. 2nd and 1.
But I think Gus wants Sean White in the game. He watched what happened a week ago in Fayetteville. At the end of the game, Sean White made play after play. There's no doubt he wants him in the game.
On short yardage, they'll run Robinson, and he gets the first down. The clock will stop as they reset the chains at the 24 with 5 minutes to go. Again, Auburn had to burn a couple timeouts in this half, so 1 remaining for the Tigers. You got to think it's this drive or bust for Auburn. because they only had that one timeout. White to throw, sideline pass, and nicely done by Ricardo Lewis. Got the foot down at the 41, a 16-yard pickup.
That's pretty. You know, watching him throw the football from the pocket, he's very accurate. Throws a nice ball, tight spiral. Nice job by Ricardo Lewis, who has been sure-handed this game. He's making amends for last week.
They'll run. Robinson finds a hole, and then he gets upended at the 46-yard line. A gain of about 5 on the play, 4.5 and counting.
You know, the other thing, Dave, is I haven't seen Denzel Kondichi out there on every snap. They're rotating that defensive line. Those guys are getting gas. You know, in the first half, we saw all kinds of pressure. Not here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Robert Kondichi not in there. They run it again. Robinson behind the blocker gets into Ole Miss territory, close to the first down at the 49-yard line.
As you can see, Brian, they're trying to go fast here, but what Gus Malzahn's having to do is get Javon Robinson a line and true freshman Chandler Cox, 27. They've had a little bit of trouble getting a line. He wants to go fast, but he's got to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Kondichi is in, by the way, Luke's here. He was on the sideline, but he's in now. It is a first down at the 49. Auburn played a 4-overtime game last week. Could we be headed there again? Robinson on first down. He gets mauled after a gain of about 1. You had DJ Jones and Christian Russell in there. And Sean Coleman, the left tackle, slow to get up. Coleman, a 2-year starter, is a guy that missed 3 years battling leukemia. He's a graduate student. He's probably their best offensive lineman. Stay in the game here, 2nd and 9. White off the fake. Laser beam that's dropped at the 30 by Melvin Ray. Another excellent throw by White. And another drop by Auburn.
Boy, you got a gritty quarterback playing on one leg. He's been harassed most of the game. You throw a dart out there, just like last week, Dave, just like last week. And instead of Ricardo Lewis, now it's Ray. And you start to wonder mentally how this wide receiving core is going to respond.
4 of 7 passing on 3rd down. He threw a touchdown pass on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 9. Here comes pressure from Ole Miss. White hit, and that pass off the mark, and White is shaken up. Mike Hilton creamed the quarterback.
That takes your breath away there. That hit right there. You try to throw that ball, and a guy coming at full speed, he can't breathe right now.
Well, and you got 4th down. You got to go for it. Do you send Jeremy Johnson in here, 4th and 9?
Yes, that hurts.
Or do you just say, okay, Sean, you got to get this play?
I might call a timeout and let him catch his breath. Come over on the sideline, call a timeout, and get the right play, because this is the game.
You send the receivers out. 4th down and 9. White pumps, looks, goes down the sideline, and it's overthrown, incomplete. Elston may have just tried to knock it down. What'd you think of the call?
No chance. There was no chance there. And I think you just call the timeout. Get the right play called. You can't take the timeouts into the locker room. It's the biggest play of the game, and you got to get the best play call.
Gus is probably thinking, well, we'll save the timeout for defense, but look, that was it right there. You're in Ole Miss territory. You had to convert that 4th and 9. Your quarterback just took a huge lick. He's already hurt because of the left knee injury.
You got to put yourself in the position of the quarterback. You take that kind of hit to get back up. It's hard to know where in the world you are, much less execute on a 4th down play. Call the timeout so he can catch his breath.
Bottom line is, though, Melvin Ray makes that catch. We're not even having this discussion.
Yes.
At a drop at the 30-yard line of Ole Miss. Still a shot here for Auburn if they can get a 3 and out. Again, 1 timeout left. Ole Miss will keep it on the ground with Walton. And Walton pushed back. He got to midfield, gain 2. Auburn will save the timeout. See what happens here on 2nd down and 8.
Yeah, well, that timeout's worth 38, 40 seconds. So if they get a 1st down here, it's going to be a moot point.
If Ole Miss hangs on, this would be a huge win. They'd be 4-1, tied with Alabama, half game back of LSU. LSU and Alabama play next week. Ole Miss has already beaten Alabama. Still has a game with LSU. That is in Oxford on November 21st. Ole Miss has Arkansas next week. Then they get their first bye of the season. Walton again. And Walton has the 1st down. And that might be the ball game. 170-pound back Jalen Walton between the tackles, able to get the first down. Good blocking up front. And Auburn will call a timeout here. 2:16 remaining, and Ole Miss leading by 8. Hugh Freeze told us the other day, well on the road since the Alabama game, and we know that Auburn, this is really their season.
Yeah.
And this was a solid performance despite the turnovers. Good response by Kelly, and now they get one more game before they finally get a bye after 10 straight games.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. 10 straight weeks that they've played, and they've been up and down, but to be in a position, they play Arkansas, and if they can get that bye week before they play LSU, certainly you would think they'd be in pretty good position. But another gutsy outing from this Ole Miss team, and another early kick. Chad Kelly wasn't perfect, the team wasn't perfect, but they got the job done when it counted.
And if you're Hugh Freeze, you got to think, all right, I got Tunsil back now. He had to miss the first 7 games. He's healthy. We got Kimdichie back. He missed last week. This is the most they've been in terms of full strength, closest they've been to full strength all year, and they have the meat of their schedule coming up. Arkansas, by LSU, both those at home, then at Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. And again, they control their own destiny. They win those games, they're in the SEC championship game.
And maybe the biggest factor in their favor is they've been able to rush the football the last 2 games. 230 against A&M and another 150 here today.
They just got to hold on to the ball here in the last couple plays. Walton gets to the 36-yard line for 4 more yards. The next snap will come with about 1.5 minutes on the clock. And Arkansas 3-4, but that'll be a physical game. Obviously the Egg Bowl, always something at stake. And LSU will have the Alabama game coming up next week. See if that team's still unbeaten by the time they meet in Oxford. LSU seems to be the best team in the SEC right now, although Alabama has looked really good as well since the loss to Ole Miss, where they turned it over 5 times. Walton stood up and forward progress to the 28. Auburn came out of there with the ball, but they ruled that forward progress was stopped, so they can't review that. And the next snap, 3rd down, will come with about 40 seconds remaining.
Well, you mentioned LSU, the best team in the SEC. I think we're going to find out in a couple of weeks, and then when they play Ole Miss again. But certainly the most improved offense, I think, in the SEC. And a lot of people, talk about Brandon Harris and the amount of yards. Yards don't mean anything. It's about efficiency with LSU, and they're now the 2nd-ranked team in the SEC in pass efficiency. So they've got it working on both sides of the ball, that's for sure.
Not done yet, though, here. Auburn can get a stop, and they do on 3rd down and 3. Jordan Wilkins is tackled, so Ole Miss has a decision to make on 4th down. The next snap will come with about 12 seconds on the clock. How do you handle this?
Well, you just can't wait.
Well, no. Look, they're not going to punt for the 32, right? And you're probably not going to kick a field goal because Georgia Tech, Florida State, you got that on there. So do you go for it? That's the option, right? To go for it and then trust your defense basically with 6 seconds left?
This is a little bit of a different situation than the one I know you're thinking about, the Michigan State, because they're on the plus side of the field. So I would anticipate that Hugh Freeze would call a play to run as much clock as you possibly can on 4th down, and then you leave. The only thing you leave is a hook and lateral style play, because you can't throw the ball to the end zone from the 20-yard line.
Right, 12 seconds left. So if they run a play, if they try to get
5 seconds,
or you could just have a guy run around for a while, which people talked about as a possibility, obviously in retrospect from that Michigan game. But assuming Ole Miss hangs on and Auburn loses this game, if you're Gus Malzahn, are you at least encouraged? I mean, do you feel like at least the season is getting to a point where you can get to a bowl game and be respectful the rest of the way? I know that wasn't what they were thinking going into the year.
Well,
when people had them
change in the expectation at the end of the day, and Gus Malzahn, he doesn't take a whole lot of solace in losing, but certainly I think that they can build off of the way that Sean White has been performing in the last 4 games, protecting the football, but above all else, defensively, they played their hearts out today, and Will Muschamp getting Carl Lawson back has infused that defense with a sense of confidence, and to hold this Ole Miss team has been scoring 41 points a game like they did in this game. It was impressive.
12 seconds to go, 4th and 2. If there is a change of possession, the clock will stop. Auburn out of timeouts.
You don't want to lose too many yards here. You can run around and take some time off the clock, but you don't want to go backwards.
Here's Walton, and he is tackled. The clock will stop with 8 seconds left. So maybe you have one play to the sideline for 10 or 15 yards, and then a Hail Mary.
Yep. Well, you know, Jeremy Johnson can throw the ball about 80 yards, you know, so I fully expect him to be. I'm not so sure that we even need to get 10 more yards.
Well, we've seen some miracles happen here at Jordan-Hare with the kick six. The prayer at Jordan-Hare answered by Ricardo Lewis. That was in a season where Auburn went to the BCS National Championship game and lost to Florida State. Johnson is on the sideline right now, so Sean White. Ole Miss puts 3 guys deep. And they got Laquan Treadwell deep.
Why wouldn't you?
Stringfellow is back there as well for the hands team. Here's White. Here's that pass we were talking about, just one play and get out of bounds near midfield. Marcus Davis, 3 seconds left. And let's see if Johnson comes in for the Hail Mary. Now it looks like it's going to be White.
Boy, I'm surprised at that. Well, now here he comes late. I was going to say, I'm surprised not only because White, you know, in his arm, whether he can get the ball down there, but also he's not real mobile right now.
3 seconds remaining. Auburn needs a Hail Mary, and then they got to convert the 2-point play. Johnson moves to his right, backs up, being chased, and throws incomplete. The game is over, and Ole Miss wins it 27-19. For Brian Greasy, Tom Luganbill, our entire crew, I'm Dave Pasch. So long from Auburn. Ole Miss improves to 4-1 in the SEC. Now let's take you out to Lubbock, Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech.